Oh, that's much better. That works better when you can hear things. Okay. Oh, fuck. Star. Thank you. I'm told that I have to edit the wiki. And if I'm going to have to do that on a Sunday, I might as well do it with Sunday Funday open and just take questions. So let's just do that. And then if you have questions, just say whatever fucking questions you have, I guess. It's just me. So if you want to say anything, just say it. Hi, Cindy. Let's see. So we're going to edit the passage right now to show the difference between the published version of the passage and the manuscript version of the passage, which is quite the difference. I didn't realize until Rob Caragiulio typed it up for us and showed us the differences. Where can I find JJP? Oh, shit, I should make that where I can read it. Where can I find JJP's new drawing? I mean, it's on Discord and the Facebook groups. Just search for stuff posted by JJP because he posted it under his account. So yeah, search for posts by him and you'll find it real quick. Or I mean, you can go to 12 Treasures to the merch store, and then there's like a John Jude Palancar section. It's there. Um, but yeah, what is the Facebook? What is the Facebook group? Oh, you can find a link to that. I think on 12 Treasures. It's this the secret. I'll post a link. Hang on. It's easier if I just post a link, I guess. Where was that? That comment was on YouTube, right? It must have been on YouTube because why would anybody ask where the Facebook group is on Facebook? They already know. There we go. Do you still work on the puzzles? If so, which ones? Basically all of them. I kind of have to because I got to talk to people about all of them. But I don't like dig, you know? I don't dig at all. So, yes. So, passage. Um, so, should I post this page by page? I don't know. Or just the whole story side by side with the whole story. I think let's try side by side story first. Well, that formatting sucks. Where do you? No, no, no. Hmm. No. I'm gonna have to learn how to not make things. Nope, that's not what I want. Oh, questions. Uh, San Francisco and St. Augustine mainly for me. Your San Francisco solves makes more sense than the three found ones. Yeah, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Um, it's pretty simple, but it wasn't just mine. There's a lot of people worked on that. Let's see. It's all in bold. I don't like this. Shit, this isn't gonna work. Howdy from Dallas. Oh, Jim's in Dallas. See, the shitty thing about these is I don't know how to edit wiki. I just don't know. Let's ask AI. Fuck it. You try to reverse engineer the Montreal verse from the Leg Eater. Like, how do you even do that? You can't really do that because you don't know what the solution is. Like, it's easy to reverse engineer something when you know how it works, but like when you don't even know, you don't know the end, you don't know the beginning, you don't know nothing. It's hard to reverse engineer that. You just got to figure it out. Like, brute forcing the puzzle doesn't really work. this shit looks like. Let's see if AI was right. Thanks. Thanks, AI. Just to make me look stupid. It's awesome. I like how people are just chatting in the comments. It's fun. And like I don't know, like just to let everyone know, I don't know why anyone would be watching. I am literally just editing our Wikipedia page. I was told I had to edit the Wikipedia page, but I was also told that I had to talk about the cruise. I don't know. But anyway, I'm just editing the Wikipedia page. But if anybody has questions, fucking just answer or ask them or answer them yourselves. Oh, that's much better. Though it didn't. So, leprechaun. Said there were no overlays. Just in case you were curious, at the Cleveland meetup, or yeah, he said he wasn't creative enough for that, which is a point that I think a lot of people missed. I said he wasn't creative enough for that. Nobody's on Facebook just because this is boring. I am well aware of the fact that it's boring. Should make it where you guys can actually read what I'm saying or what I'm doing. That would be nice, wouldn't it? The first page, there's like 7 or 8 things that are different. Let's go to the second page. So there isn't much here. And then review. For the word stinking. What are we doing? Oh, we're just editing the wiki. So we found out that the manuscript for the front portion of the book is I mean, it's not vastly different from the published portion of the book, but there's some differences. So I'm editing the wiki to show those differences. The differences are in bold. You can go check them out if you want. Or you can wait, whatever. Or you can just look at them here. And then I'm taking questions because I'm bored. And I was told I had to do this, so I figured I'd do it on camera because I'm a camera whore. Yeah, it's any excuse to put me in front of a camera, I guess. But I don't have anybody to talk to. So I'm being kind of quiet because, and also nobody's asking questions. There's a couple of people who are talking to themselves, and that's fine because that's cool. It's a cool thing for the community to do. But I don't have anything to talk about, so I'm just editing Wikipedia. So what nerds do in their time, their free time. What did you do this weekend, George? Oh, I edited some Wikipedia. Oh, someone gave me $20. Thank you, Joseph. I don't know why. Just give the Wikipedia nerd $20, but I appreciate it. Um, means we have $20 in the beer fund. I have to go to bed because I have a dentist appointment tomorrow. Probably shouldn't uh, use anything for the beer fund. Good luck at the dentist. I hate the dentist. But anyway, to answer Nick's question earlier, that's what we're doing. We're being nerds until somebody says something that sparks like this long conversation, and I completely abandon the Wikipedia page. George, what do you think about St. George Rail Yard for New York? Can that cover Rhapsodic Man soil? Simple. I have no idea. I have no idea what St. George Rail Yard it was. Look up St. George Rail Yard. St. George Terminal. It's in Staten Island. We got to go to Staten Island. You think Byron put something in Staten Island? Don't New Yorkers hate Staten Island? It's more of a joke than anything, but also not. Um, I don't know, man. I mean, like, what's good about this place? What's bad about it? Tell me. I doubt it. Like I don't know. Can it be that? I guess it depends on like the answer to that question is both yes and no. It really depends on your ideas and like how you think the verse works and how you think it takes you there. Because for some people it could be that. For other people it it couldn't. You know what I'm trying to say. But I don't know that much about it. Like at least not enough to talk about it. Uh, but if you tell me, I will know. So why do you think it's there? Unless that's like just way too much to type. In which case I understand. I could always just come on. I'm sure I could find a link and set up a. I'd have to set up a room. If anybody wants to come on, you're willing. I'm willing. You can. I just got to set up a room. So you'd have to let me know and give me like 10 minutes to set up a room. This is gonna be one of the like most boring Sunday fun days ever. This is what it's like to watch video game streamers if game streamers did nothing. Like imagine if work streamers were a thing. Like you just watched people, I don't know, order product or do a schedule. I have a friend who's a master schedule. Imagine he streamed his job. Tony's working today. Everybody wants to see when Tony works. It would be the most boring fucking thing. Let's see. I feel like that this is a show called Severance. Yeah. Yeah, but Severance is good. It's good. Well, I didn't watch the second season. Like I only watched the first couple of episodes. I feel like Severance was a good show. Okay, let's see what Joseph says. Bedloe Island became Liberty Island in the 50s. So why do we assume Isle of B is Bedloe Island if it's literal would be Isle of L? I mean, I think people overthink that, but that Isle of B. I really do. But like I don't have an adequate answer to give for it that's not overthinking it. I have a feeling I have a feeling the reason we've made New York so or the reason New York is so hard is because we've made it hard. You know? I just have that feeling. Um I love B. Brooklyn. Yeah, maybe. That doesn't you know, it makes sense. In that it's not like out of the realm of possibility, I guess. We need to separate these more. Because these separations are important. SK man, that's a separation. Newfound land. Harp on it. So there's a guy. It's next week. There's a guy doing Charleston, and then the week after that, we're getting all the guys that have been on for the past few weeks are getting back together to talk about stuff. Oh, this is Rob, one of the guys from the past couple weeks. No. It's next week. Is the guy doing his thing? You can come on though if you want. You made this freaking thing. You could talk about it. Um, I don't know if finds someone trustworthy in San Francisco to dig up the cask this week. Well, finding somebody trustworthy in San Francisco is really easy. Finding someone who's going to believe your idea is not quite so easy. Because, you got to convince somebody to go dig a hole for you and they have to believe your ideas. Um, I don't know. Finding someone trustworthy is pretty easy. Most people in the Facebook, well, most of the shitty people have been kicked out of the Facebook groups, or at least made to where they don't talk much in the Facebook groups. Um, so yeah. Sorry, watching something. Okay, that's fine. Watch something that I couldn't read because of the thing. Bears. That's it. The Bears. Are they winning? Is the Bears winning? Who's going to the Super Bowl? I don't know anything about sports. But you all want to thank Rob Carajulio for this because he's the one that set all of this up. This um, comparison. I'm wondering if I should do this by page. Hmm. So like a bunch of so Rob has apparently pointed out changes, but not when things are organized differently. I don't know how to do that. Let's see. Because like all of this is different. Like that's all different. So how do we? We're talking about the Fairmont again. Yeah, yeah. If you're not looking near the Fairmont, you're not in the right spot. If you can't see it, you're not in the right spot. Yeah, you don't have to take my word for that. I don't mind. You can believe whatever, go wherever you want. I don't. Doesn't hurt my feelings any. Um, have a feeling we're not gonna find that one. Or maybe the guys just didn't dig in the right spot. Like who knows? It's a big planner, and the reason we were in the very specific spot we were in the planner was kind of shaky. You know, it was kind of shaky. So who knows? The thing about that planner is, um, so there's two things. There's well, there's three things, but two of them are the same. There's a gas line and there's an electrical line that's buried about that far underground. I really think they just laid down the plumbing for it and then put fill dirt over it instead of like digging down. They just raised the bed up a little bit. So you have to avoid those. Uh, and the fact that they already like as far as anybody knows, as far as anybody can tell, the maintenance people said that they've already like taken all the dirt out of that to fix the drainage issues. Now, whether or not that's true, the maintenance person is just misremembering. I don't know, but that's the things you have to deal with here are that the dirt in that planter is probably a lot higher than it used to be, and we don't know exactly where in that planter box to dig. So have fun, enjoy. Fairmont is a misremembered fact. I mean, if that's what you want to run on, go for it. But my misremembered facts kept going and going and going, and it hadn't stopped. And I mean, like repeated and repeat by numerous people. So I know what the post under the table is. I found it. It's not a, well, I mean, yeah, just it's fine. You should go dig it up, man. You should go to like. Here's my thing. I once knew exactly where the Roanoke cask was, and I was so sure. And I just went out there and looked. You know, that's what I did. I hopped in my car, I went out there and looked. I was once so sure that I knew where the Milwaukee cask was, and I jumped on a plane and I went out there and looked. And I was so sure I knew where the New Orleans cask was, and I got in my car and I drove out there and looked. And I was so sure that I knew where the San Francisco cask was that I hopped on a plane and I checked. Now it's hard for me to take anyone seriously when they say I know exactly where it is, but I need someone else to go get it for me. Because if you know exactly where a cask is, like exactly, if you're so sure, well, you're just gonna go get it. You'll figure it out. Like I don't buy the like I don't have time or it takes a lot to travel or I can't travel. Like Josh Cornell was homeless and had no job and still made it all around the country. Like you'd figure it out. If it was serious, you would figure it out. I mean, he sold drugs literally on the side of the road and busked. He like took a guitar and he busked on the side of the road and he bought a Greyhound ticket to travel the entire country just because he was so damn sure. And now he was wrong, but he did it. It's the conviction, like more than the good ideas. I think it's the conviction that convinces people. Um, so yeah, I don't know. That's just my opinion, though. And who the fuck am I, you know? Starting to like get far away from each other. Maybe I should just bam. There we go. Jeff, feel free to come on a Sunday Funday and talk about Sunday Funday. Do you personally think something further can be discovered by seeing what has changed between the two versions, or are you just doing this per others' request? No, I think you can learn a lot from this. You can learn not just Byron's style, but what was changed drastically is probably important now. You know, like you're talking about two different structured puzzles, and like the structure of the puzzle was changed, and then you see a bunch of changes down the line, and the changes down the line are going to be important. You know, um, was there supposed to be someone else on tonight, or did that fall through? I don't think it was supposed to be anybody on tonight. It was next. It's like the 25th or something. Uh, yeah. So, um, yeah, there wasn't anybody supposed to be today. It's like the 25th. So do we count like changed words? Because embarked therefore versus embarked therefore. Like, do we count that? Do we count editing? I don't know if we count editing. This, I think I can. I think I can get this formatted a little better, but let me do it like this first. Anyway, I feel like even if the changes aren't apparent, right? Like the changes that we're seeing aren't apparent right now. Um, like someone in the comments said, they might help someone someday. You know, the stuff that we had on Quest for Treasure wasn't immediately apparent to people then of how important it was, but eventually we figured it out. You know what I'm saying? Eventually it became important. So I think even if these things, like my philosophy has always been like, even if stuff doesn't necessarily fit my ideas in regards to the puzzle or how the puzzle works or how the history of the puzzle works or whatever, just document everything because you never know what's going to be important. Um, so that's why we're doing this. Like that's why getting the manuscripts was important, and then getting the manuscripts led to knowing what changed and knowing what was important. Yada yada yada. And like all these little tiny changes lead up to big things. I have lost my lighter, and that is a very big thing. Oh God. I must find one of those. Where'd it go? I'm gonna be a moron and it was in my pocket the whole time. Nope. I mean, I am a moron, but not for that reason. Alright. I can't get anything to work in Coney Island, at least to a possible dig site. Like, there's some good stuff in Coney Island, but I think your problem is back in the 80s, everything was sand, and now everything's pavement. Finding a lighter is harder than the secret. Nah, they're all over the place. So yeah, that's my only problem with Coney Island. It's that there's no. It's all pavement now. You know, there's nowhere to dig. There's no way to know what used to be where. Like everything's paved. So, and then talking to some of the like the people that run games out there. Last time I was down there, they were like, "Oh yeah, this place is totally different from the way it was in the '80s." So that's the problem with Coney Island. It's the problem with most of these cities, if you think about it. Like the amount of stuff that's just been paved over, it's crazy. Can you guys hear me? I feel like my volume's low. Anyway, never mind. Uh, so yeah, cool. Um, but yeah, I feel like Coney Island, like there's a lot of stuff in the image that visually, I think people look for one-to-one matches like the fence post in Chicago, right? And there's not that much. Um, there's not that much. I mean, besides the obvious, that's visually matching in New York. But New York tells a story. I think it like elements tell stories and give clues in a way that John Palancar's been talking about recently, uh, like um, like the waves being for Shore Drive or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like the art tells the art gives visual clues, not really matchy clues, but the art gives a lot of visual clues for that area, but it also gives a lot of visual clues for not that area, right? Like Times Square is nowhere near Coney Island. Um, Statue of Liberty is nowhere near Coney Island. Nothing, none of those eagles are anywhere near Coney Island or seagulls or whatever the hell you've decided the bird is. Yeah, Surf Ave, that was it. Not Shore Drive. Shore Drive's Brooklyn. Yeah, the same clue used a different way in a different place. Um, it's basically the same thing. Surf Ave, that was it. Um, any ideas on the bubble? None. None ideas on the bubbles. I think I can't remember who it was in the last stream where we were talking about the front of the book and like the sort of history that was given in the front of the book and the baubles that were traded for Manhattan. I kind of liked that for the bubbles representing the baubles that were traded to the Indians for Manhattan. But no, any practical ideas for the bubbles? No. There has to be a trick to figure out the domes. I agree. It's a Jim. Jim, are you watching the stream? There has to be a trick to figure out the domes. I agree with that. Um, the thing is, John very specifically said that church was an exact photo. So no matter what we may think they are, no matter what we may think they represent, what they are is an exact photo of something um, that we need to find. Now, will we find it? I don't know. Probably not. I mean, people have been looking for a long time. Nobody's even come close. Uh, so, was it the church in Cleveland? I did say that we thought it was the church in Cleveland. He looked at me like I was an idiot. He didn't say no, but he did look at me like I was just a complete and utter moron. Um, like the story goes, we were all standing around. It was me, Brian, Andy, John, and uh, we were talking about it. We were talking about the image being removed, or the church being removed, and we were talking about how we found kind of sort of matches. And I was like, yeah, but it's the church in Cleveland. And John looked at me, and I was like, that's the closest match we've ever found. Now I'm paraphrasing here. This probably wasn't exactly how it's been a long time. But I was like, that's the closest match we've ever found. And he looked at me like just like I was a moron. Like, the fuck are you talking about? And he was like, it's almost like you have to find an exact picture. Like, okay. Did he use the word church? I don't know. I don't know. We all use the word church. That the photo was of a church or the art is a church. Like, I don't know. I don't know what you mean, so I don't know how to answer that question. Right. Three domes, which is for Trinity, maybe. But he said an exact photo, which means there is a photo out there. Now, whether it's a photo of a painting or a photo of a church or a photo of something else, it could be a fucking drawing in a book. I don't know. But there is something out there that is exactly that. Just no question. Exactly that. And we need to find that thing. Um, Now, the only thing that we have right now that we know that they referenced is a World Book Encyclopedia, but people have been going through that for Russian Dome churches and haven't found anything. I answered your question. Okay, cool. Sorry, I didn't quite understand, and I didn't want to just like leave you hanging. JGP makes it sound like we can find it. I mean, he didn't. He wasn't like you'll never find it. He was like, it's almost like you need to find an exact photo. Um, Kind of like pointing you in the right direction, I guess. Like I took it as stop trying to figure out what church this is, try to find the right photo. Could the Times Square thing just be symbolism for a square clock in the area? I mean, that, yeah, I guess. Um, it wasn't hypothesized to be Times Square for a long time. People didn't really see the puzzle that way until really after Boston, I think. Like it was, I mean, I'm sure people hypothesized it or whatever. People thought of that idea, but it wasn't super widely accepted. It almost like before Boston, it was almost like everybody needed to find exact matches for everything. So the same way the fence post was, or the leg eater is, or whatever. You were looking for exact matches instead of sort of trying to figure out what the art was telling you. So could it be a square clock? Yeah, sure. People have been looking for a clock with that font for a really long time with the upside down six and whatever. So maybe, I don't know. I mean, really, like, until we know, we don't know. So go with your gut if you want. How are things in the St. Augustine hunt? You know, in the hunt area, they're okay. I think that it's it's gotten better because it's gotten quieter. We had a lot of really like shitty hunters in St. Augustine. You know, we had a lot of people who were causing trouble or who would just start some drama or um a lot. Like we had people who, if you were gaining headway with a certain park or whatever, they would call the park and talk shit about you. We had people who do that with the city. But I think in the past couple of years, the more that's come out about the hunt has shut all of their ideas down and just basically shut them up. Or they've gotten so tired of not getting anywhere, like they're over the hunt kind of. So they've stopped just pulling bullshit. So the St. Augustine hunt's gotten a lot better. Like the people who work the St. Augustine hunt are a lot friendlier and, more of a team now. And I think because the shitty people have stopped being shitty, the city is a little more lenient with the people that they know. So it's gotten better. It got really bad about 2 years after, well, about a year after the Boston episode came out. It got really, really bad, but it's slowly gotten better. So it's not believed to be in the Fountain of Youth. I mean, your hunters are 50-50 on that. 50% are in the Fountain of Youth, 50% aren't. And the 50% who aren't, probably 50% of those are at the amphitheater, and the other 50% are just God only knows where, everywhere, just random places. Um, no, I don't think anybody's clipped the domes and put it up their chat GPT. Um, but yeah, and there's still some people still pop up, and like there was one dude who thought the cask was buried in the parking lot of some like nail salon or something. It was really weird. And he bothered them for a while and got the city involved, and that was crazy. Uh, there was the guy who swore up and down it was in that locked um, garden on St. George Street. He was really respectful though. He was a nice guy. But like I said, 25% of hunters are just off all on their own. But the city is more welcoming now. So like the archaeologist still ain't gonna talk to you. Um, like the mayor doesn't give a shit. But some of the city workers, they're a lot more lenient now just because the crazy has died down. Like the dude who wanted to dig in Constitution Square because he thought the puzzle was a German puzzle. Like he's shut up and left everybody alone. And I think when the crazy died down, so did the heat. So city's opening back up. Are we about are we about to get are we about to get creepy with JD Salinger? Because anytime JD Salinger comes up, things get a little creepy. Okay. Andrew, my thoughts are it's in the chat. Don't text them to me. Don't text them to me. I'm just gonna ignore them. I've got stuff to do. Put them in the chat. Don't ever give people your phone number. Because instead of like putting things in the chat, they'll just text you. And that doesn't help anybody. Into the fines. Shouldn't that be the land of the pines? What is the land of the fines? Hmm. Let's look that up. Oh, okay. It's a British thing. Land Land of the Fines refers to historical English legal records called feet of fines. I don't know. I'm gonna maybe. I still think it should be Land of the Pines, but whatever. That wasn't Byron. You guys that are having conversations in the chat should really just join Discord. Because Discord's a lot like this. It's just a bunch of people just having a conversation. I mean, I'm not saying stop what you're doing, because I think it's awesome when people just have conversations about this, no matter where they do it. I just try to push people to Discord because Discord seems to be reasonable and well-rounded, and people have fun there. And people just talk. You know, there's not as much of the crap as there is on Facebook. There's not as much like you post an idea, there aren't 1,000 people just posting their ideas in the comments. You know, it's just a conversation. So I always try to tell people, like, go there if you can. Uh, anyway, been doing this for like an hour now, in 4 minutes. This has got to be the most boring Sunday Funday ever for people. Like, I don't know why people are watching this. Just watching a dude edit Wikipedia. ChatGPT says the church domes are either St. Basil Church or Church of Savior or Unspilled Blood. They look a lot like the Church of the Savior Unspilled Blood, but they're not exact. Um, so yes, Jeff S. Most people don't realize Coney Island is made up of 4 neighborhoods: Seagate, Coney Island, Brighton Beach, and Manhattan Beach. I mean, I feel like the people of Brighton Beach would be angry to if you said they were part of Coney Island. Brighton Beach, don't they consider themselves their own little town? Not a borough, but like, are they technically? I mean, Coney Island is part of Brooklyn, right? Like, I don't understand how the boroughs work. It's weird to me. Coney Island's part of Brooklyn, but it's its own separate thing. Brighton Beach is technically part of Brooklyn, but it's also part of Coney Island, but it's also its own separate thing. It's really weird. But is that something a native New Yorker would do? You know, like, would he say that Brighton Beach is part of Coney Island? I think the aquarium separates Coney Island from Brighton Beach. I kind of agree with that. I think the aquarium is the last part of Coney Island, and then Brighton Beach starts. Because there's that one park that's right in, I forget the name of it, that's right inside of Brighton Beach. Like, keeps reformatting. I think of them as neighborhoods. I also think of them as kind of neighborhoods, but they're like neighborhoods with their own identity that don't really associate with. They're like some neighborhoods in small towns are like neighborhoods in small towns are different from neighborhoods like this. These kind of neighborhoods consider themselves their own little city. It's like a city within a city, you know? But if you walk the boardwalk, the beach is uninterrupted. I don't know if that's true either. Let's look at that. So the boardwalk doesn't. Yeah. But it ends in Brighton Beach. Like it goes past the aquarium, halfway into Brighton Beach, and then stops and then extends. Or maybe it's possible they just took that picture when they were doing some work, but I don't know. It's just covered in fucking dirt. It looks like a boardwalk just covered in sand. I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong. Most of the time I'm wrong, but I like to look at things. The dividing line is Ocean Parkway. Okay. I know we're talking to other people where it says, "Do you think the rides attractions are the verse clues?" But it's hard to be in Coney Island and think about this verse and hear whirring sound and not think of Cyclone. You know, that's difficult, and I know it doesn't necessarily match the Japanese hints, um, but it's difficult. It's just difficult to get away from that. Yeah, just like Jeff said. Cars Abound could be the bumper cars. It could also be the antique cars ride. It's in the same park as the Cyclone, or right next to the park. And I think it was no, I think it was in the park with the Wonder Wheel. Was the big antique cars ride, which was just like some shitty fiberglass antique looking cars on some train tracks that went around in a circle. It was like a kid's ride. Why do people keep texting me? Oh, I don't think that was a text. I think someone bought something from 12 Treasures. That's very nice. That's always nice when that happens. I don't get any money for it, but it's nice. Yeah. Thanks, Bob. I hope you enjoy your thing. What you got, but I hope you enjoy it. set that order in motion. Sorry, guys. George, did tonight's guest cancel or something? Did I have that set as tonight? Because it was the 25th. Did I just put the wrong date? And yeah, it's the 20. He's supposed to be on the 25th. There was no guest for tonight. I had to do this editing the Wikipedia, and I figured if I'm gonna sit in front of a computer and do secret stuff, I might as well do it with a stream on, so I could talk to people at least, because it's boring editing Wikipedia alone. But yeah, there was no guest, and then occasionally we just do like question and answer days. I just forgot to announce it. Well, I didn't really forget. It was like a spur of the moment thing. Um, But I figured we'd do a question and answer day. Like once a year, we used to have drama day where we just talked about drama, but there's no drama. And there hasn't been any drama. It's been really, really nice. So don't start drama just for drama day next year. But there hasn't really been any drama, so might as well do like just a question and answer day. But there haven't really been any questions, so who is the next guest? It's a guy named Joe C who wants to talk about Charleston. I don't really know him. Um, he was he's not a Facebook guy. He just sent me an email and wanted to do one. And then after that, it's the guys from last week are coming back to do some stuff. And then there's a dude on Discord who wants to do one. He hasn't told me what it's about though. What is the sky blue? What is the sky blue, Kathy? I know why the sky is blue. I don't know what it is. Sorry, why? Why is the sky blue? Well, it has to do with the way colors in your eyes and wavelengths work across our atmosphere. Um, I mean, there's like, we could get into the like I'm not I don't know. I mean, I don't know the details. I just know it has to do with the way colors are perceived by your eye coming through the atmosphere. Some colors are blocked out and others aren't, and blue is prominent. So the sky is blue. And then the water is blue because of the sky. Um, yeah. I have a Doc X if you want. Rob, that would have been much, much easier. Has John ever commented that there was a method to pair the verses? No, because I don't think he knows. You got to remember he hadn't seen the verses until the book came out, so I don't think he knows. I think he knows, like just from conversation with Byron. I think he knows what some of the stuff in the verses is. I know what it's like, what it's supposed to be. I think he knows how the puzzles work in general. Um, but once you get to very not intricate, but like smaller stuff like that, like how the puzzles, how things are paired together. I don't think he knows. I don't think that would be something he would be a part of. Um, which leads me to believe it doesn't really have much to do with the verse or with the painting. Because he would, if it had to do with the painting, he would know. But I don't know. I just don't think he knows. I wish I would have known. Well, it's okay. I mean, this is good. The way the PDF is, because I can just copy back and forth. It's just formatting's a little weird. So I need to go back and format this table by page, and not by page like manuscript page, but by book page. Like this page of X page of the book, page number 12 or whatever, has these changes, and page number 13 has these. I think that would have been better. Um, George, you never commented on the flower power theory. There's a flower power theory? Like hippies, flower power. Because I'm down with some hippies. I like the hippies. The hippies were great people. Flower power. Give me the flower power theory, man. What is the flower? Does it have anything to do with putting flowers in the barrels of federal agents' guns? Because at the risk of getting political, that might become appropriate soon. You sound very calm tonight. I just came on. Love the live editing of the files here. Kathy, you do seem like the kind of person that would like to watch people work. Just like I'm gonna build a spreadsheet. Like people on Twitch, they should just do that. People like accountants should just go live on Twitch and just this is how you use QuickBooks. Tim O'Dwyer's in the comments. Just have him go live on Twitch with his phone, and he's just like, because he's a lawyer. So before court, he just sets up like a tripod right in front of the judge with like a phone on it and one of those ring lights. And he's just like, thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to say my client is not guilty. The glove does not fit, and you must acquit. And then it's just, that's what it is. That's what his Twitch channel is. That would be awesome. It's my theory for how to pair image to verse. Okay. I don't think I've seen the flower power theory. Yeah, I just don't think I've seen it. There's a lot of these though. Like everybody posts a theory, and I don't see them all. It's also much harder to keep track of all this shit than it used to be, because now like people have a theory and they post it, and they have a completely different theory the next day and they post it, and sometimes it doesn't even take a day. Sometimes it's like 3 hours later they're like, oh no, all that shit was wrong, here's the new one. So it's hard to keep track. That has been a problem on the Facebook groups lately, where people are just like have any kind of random idea and then post about it. Thankfully, they're not like taking their one sentence random thought and putting it into ChatGPT and having ChatGPT write out a long like diatribe about it anymore. Nobody's doing that anymore, thankfully. But it's getting hard to keep track of stuff. There's actually multiple legs in the journeys. First, old world to new, then the Great Council. The Great Council where all come together, then to final place where they vanish. It makes me think of hour, minute, clock hands. Blue Dome Church looks like a paper cutout over the square. Has anyone seen the painting without it there? Yeah, it's not on the painting. And it was never like attached to the painting. So when the paintings were photographed for the book, they were just put somewhere. And then there was a pane of glass that was sort of in between the camera and the painting is a pane of glass. And then they would put whatever they wanted to cover up on the pane of glass and then focus in. So nothing ever touched the paintings aside from like the focus marks. But yeah, it's not on the painting. Willing to come on and explain it. Okay, I gotta set up a room. You mean now or like later? So let me know now or later. Because if it's now, I gotta set up a room. If it's later, we just pick a day. It's up to you. I don't care either way. Now, okay, let me set up a room. Just 1 second. Yeah, I probably shouldn't do that here. Oh, Um, let me see if this works. I don't know if this will work. I don't know if I can switch from one to the other, but I will try. We will try. Let's see what happens if I go here. You know, I bet I can do this. And then do this. Sorry. I should probably minimize that. Uh, well, Mark, you're not joining. So let's just do this. If you join, I'll throw you up here. I'm 5 minutes away from home. I'll jump on. Okay. Name that tune, Ward style. We will get copyrighted if we play music. Late to the show. Hi, all Court of Honor in Milwaukee for the rushing to flowers. Is there a link to the Discord somewhere? There is on 12 Treasures. Just scroll down a bit and it's there. Let's find it. Let's find it all together. Because, you know, maybe it's not there anymore. I don't know. Oh, it's not there. Oh no, that's the wrong page. I'm an idiot who doesn't know his own website. It's right here. Discord. Right next to Give Me Money and Quest for Treasure Archive and the merch store, where I don't get any money. I don't get any money from that. I do there. But YouTube, Discord. Just click on that and it opens up Discord. Or don't. This one's cool too. If you click on media, it takes you to a whole different site where like we have all of the media that, oh my God, like it's the crazy amount of stuff. Um, Look, we have an Expedition Unknown folder that has all of the episodes of Expedition Unknown, and you can just stream them. You just watch them there if you want. Nobody, and look, behind the scenes stuff, you can't see that, it's cut off. Behind the scenes stuff or is over here directly this side, right off screen. It's behind the scenes stuff, bumpers, all the episodes, the Josh Gates Tonight thing. There's more videos in there too if you know where to look. Yeah. All you got to do is click on media. And you can make an account and upload your own shit, which is nice. Look, here's a video of John. All these videos of Milwaukee, or pictures. There's like pictures of all the steps in Milwaukee. Here's this weird video of John. It's got sound. I don't know why. There we go. Oh, no, it's not playing for some reason. Oh, well. The audio isn't working. But it's there. I forgot about that meeting. Yep, it's there. Okay, I'm back. So yeah. There's all kinds of stuff there. I don't know what this is. Oh. I get it now. Never mind. So yeah, that's what that is. Or you can just stay on here. What do I click? I sent you a link on Facebook. When is the documentary that was filmed plan on being released? I don't know. I haven't talked to her. Where do I haven't talked to her in a while. Since last year, like November, October, and she was doing post production then. She was like, it was all done, and she's just in post and coloring and stuff. I don't know. I think we have to keep in mind that she has a real job, and it's coming. One thing that Byron's manuscript may have insight to is about the Arabic section and the final publication. This is oh, look, Mark's here. Hi, Mark. We can't hear you, Mark.
George, I'm here.
Mark's here.
But I'm hearing two audio streams, so maybe I need to kill.
You have to kill the stream.
Gotcha. Hold on.
But they're probably also hearing two streams too. Two of you. So I have to do something about that.
I killed it.
Okay.
Now, how do I get your video? Let me see. Hold on. That's okay.
Yeah, I don't have it streaming through there. I have it on the stream.
That's okay. I can't see you, but that's all right.
I'm not pretty, Mark. It's fine.
Well, then you're in good company with me, let me tell you.
Okay. I have to... There we go. That should work. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you.
Sweet.
I can hear you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So we're talking about something.
So someone brought up method for pairing image to verse.
Okay.
It's a subject I've given a lot of thought to.
Okay.
I mean, maybe I'm not unique in that. I'm sure there's a lot of people that have done the same.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, something I came up with is that I believe that the flowers in each of the paintings can be linked to various keywords in the verses.
Okay.
And that's how the verses are meant to be paired to paintings. Okay. So I'll give you the first examples. Of course, everybody always says, well, how does that work for Chicago and Cleveland and Boston, right? So I'll give those as my first examples. Okay. So let's start with Chicago. The flower in the Chicago painting is if you're looking at Jason's chart, he calls it the lily of the valley, which is not incorrect. It's a lily of the valley, but that flower is also called a maybell. Okay, maybell. Starts with the letters M and B. Okay, so then I have verse. I'm going by memory for most of this, okay? So forgive me if I make a couple mistakes here. Verse 12 has the verse line where M and B are set in stone. Okay, so I have a flower with an M and a B in it, and I have a verse line with M and B in it.
But you've changed the flower. Let's just be clear. You've changed the flower. You've changed the name from. It is no longer. It is no longer the birth flower. It is a different.
No,
Where
but
is a different? I mean, it's a different name, but whatever. It's not the name that's associated with the birth flower. I get it. Maybells, lilies are sometimes called Maybells.
yeah, that's the thing. It's the same flower.
But your logic doesn't fucking matter. You could change it as a lily because there's a giant L in this verse too.
Okay.
I mean, your logic still kind of works.
Okay, that's fair. Anyway, so that's example one. Now, example two, I'll use Boston because, in my opinion, it's a little bit easier to digest. So
They
the
get harder
flower,
to digest in this?
huh?
They get harder to digest? Okay, let's go.
They get harder. Yes, they get a little bit harder. Cleveland is a little bit of a, it's a little bit of a, I don't know how to describe it, but it's a little bit of a process
Okay.
to get to that point. So anyway, so let me go to Boston first. The flower in the Boston painting is the gladiolus. Okay. Gladiolus, the word gladiolus sounds similar, at least one or two of the syllables is similar to the word gladiator. Okay. The Boston verse, is it verse 3? I forget. I don't have them in front of me. I'm unprepared for this, but I think it's whatever the Boston verse number is.
It's verse 3.
Verse 3, thank you. It has the verse line, you'll pass the Colosseum. Right? The Colosseum is where gladiators performed. Okay, so I have a flower that sounds like gladiator, and I have the line in the verse that refers to the Colosseum.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying is maybe that was the intended method to pair those two, verse and image.
So basically, what you're saying is the intended method from Byron is to change the flower and then kind of sort of pair it to maybe something that's in the verse.
But I didn't change the flower.
So far, we've changed two. So far, we've changed gladiolus to gladiator, and we've changed lily to Maybell.
Yeah.
Yeah. So far, we've changed two, and we've paired them to something in the verse. Now, that's fine.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Fair enough. I mean, I didn't change them much, though.
But we did change them.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. All right. So now Cleveland.
Yeah.
Now Cleveland's going to be a little bit of a walk to get to.
Okay.
So with Cleveland, the problem with Cleveland is obviously is you have to identify what the flower in the painting is.
Yeah.
In my never so humble opinion, that flower is not a daffodil, right? I mean, is that what everybody thinks the flower is in Cleveland painting? Is that what Jason's chart says? Hold on.
Yeah, that's what John said. Well, he said it's a daffodil, but I'm really bad at drawing flowers.
But I mean, it looks nothing like a daffodil, right?
He's really bad at drawing flowers, is what he said. I don't know. Oh, okay, I got a sweet message. Let's see if it continues to be sweet.
Okay, anyway, so
that's very nice.
So there's another flower, okay? There's a flower called an asphodel. Okay. Now, the word daffodil actually derives from the word asphodel.
Okay.
Right? It apparently that word daffodil derived from the Dutch article de, de, and the flower asphodel.
Okay.
Asphodel. Asphodel, daffodil. Okay. Now, the reason that's relevant, the asphodel in ancient Greek mythology, or maybe it wasn't mythology, maybe it's just the ancient Greeks believed that when their warriors, their heroic warriors died, their heaven that they went to was occasionally, frequently, commonly referred to as the fields of asphodel. That's what they believed the heaven was for their fallen warriors, the fields of asphodel. So that was the afterlife for the warriors. Okay, so the afterlife for us, we think of, when we get buried after we die, we get buried in a burial plot, which is what? A grave, right? Graves are rectangular plots. A burial plot is a rectangular shaped plot. Okay. Then I have verse 4 with the verse line that says, in a rectangular plot.
Why don't you just skip all this and say it's the Greek flower? It's the Greek. There's Greek name. It's Greek. It's the Greek puzzle. You don't have to stretch it. You don't have to stretch it into like we think of heaven, and when you get buried, it's in a grave, but when it's not always. And in fact, most of the time it's not. Most of the time we just get set on fire. Why not just say it's derived from this Greek word? It's the Greek puzzle. That seems simpler. I mean, there's so much Greek stuff in the painting and the verse. You just pick and choose. Bunch of Greek names. It's no different than being like Lily L, Maybell M, and B.
The theory is based on the etymology of the flower names.
Okay.
All of this is based on the flower names, linking the keywords in the verses.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. So let's take, you could throw any one of these out here and I could give you the explanation. So, okay, so let's go to NOLA, New Orleans. All right. The flower in the New Orleans painting is what? The narcissus, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think is the common belief, the narcissus. And then I have the verse line, I think it's verse 9 for NOLA, if memory serves me correctly. No, that's St. Augustine. Hold on. Verse 2, excuse me. Verse 2 has the verse line, gnomes admire, right? That's kind of a narcissistic trait, right? To admire.
No. People admire shit all the time. Narcissists admire themselves.
That's what I mean. Admire. Gnomes admire. Okay. Anyway. So that's the theory for Noah. Okay. What's next? Okay, let's do Houston. Houston's a good one, in my opinion.
Larkspur.
The larkspur, right. The larkspur. Now, the name larkspur derives from the Greek word for a dolphin or a porpoise. Okay. And then I have a verse line that says out, which is sort of suggestive of the spout that a dolphin would produce, or a whale or whatever. But there's the spout. And then I have a flower whose name derives from dolphin.
Okay.
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 Okay. What do you want to do next? Let's go to
keep
your
going.
hometown.
Keep going, man.
I'm going. I'm going to go. So let's go. Let's do St. Augustine.
All right.
The aster.
Yes, sir.
The name derives from, or means star. The flower name means star. Aster means star. Right? Then I have verse 9 with the verse line, stars move by day.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Charleston, the daisy. Okay, daisy derives from day's eye, right? Because the flower kind of blooms and opens up when the sun comes up in the morning. Day's eye. And then I have the verse line, verse. Well, okay. So by the way, let me preface this explanation with not every verse pairing in this theory agrees with the commonly accepted pairings. Okay. So I have a verse that says, um, you'll see an arc of light. It's verse 5, right? Arc of light. Wait a minute, hold on.
Just going by your logic, wouldn't it be better to just go with the common verse and say I have a verse that has eyes in it?
Day's eye, though.
Yeah, eye. I'm sure you're going arc of lights for day, and you're just skipping I completely. Why not skip day and just use I with the verse with the with like a quote from a book about Charleston and a date that's written in steel inside of a park in Charleston. Why switch verse and be like I have an arc of lights for day's I instead of just being like the verse got I in it.
Okay.
I mean,
So
but I'm
what I'm
asking
saying,
why.
go, huh?
But I'm asking why are we doing this? Why are we
Why are
skipping
we
around?
using verse 6?
Yeah.
Seen here by eyes of old. So now I'm spanning two verse lines to put this together, to make the connection.
Why? Why are you spanning two verse lines?
Seen here by, because day's eye is the flower, daisy, day's eye.
Yeah. You have a verse line by eyes of old.
Seen here is one line, verse line 4. By eyes of old is
Why do
line
you
5.
need seen here? What are you focusing on seen here? By eyes of
Okay, so
old.
I'm looking for a connection to the name of the flower.
Yeah. Eyes.
What about
It's literally in the name
what
you gave me.
about
Day's eyes.
what about the days? What about the first syllable of the
Well,
flower? Days.
if we're stretching it this far, we might as well say what's older than the day. I mean, literally,
What's
what's
older than
older
the
than the
day?
day? What's older than the day?
Older than the day.
Shit, man, in the Bible, that was created first. It's the oldest thing there is. The day is the oldest thing there is.
Let there be light is, I think, the reference you're going for there.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And the earth was without void. And blah, blah, blah. Yeah, let there be light.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Do you see how we could just do this? Like, we could just do this with whatever. Like, I'm not trying to make fun. I'm not trying to be an asshole.
No, I know that's okay. I don't mind. Go ahead.
I just
Poke
mean,
holes.
we could just do this. We could do it with anything we want. Especially if we go especially if we're like changing the names of things. We could just do it. We could just go wherever we want. You want to keep going? Go to another city? This one,
I can do them all.
maybe this one's just kind of stretchy. Let's try another.
I can do them all. So I could do San Francisco with the rose.
Sure.
Okay. We have a rose, which is basically the universal symbol for what? Romance.
No.
And I have a verse with the line and the word in it, romance. V6.
What are you doing now? 6?
Of all the romance retold.
Oh, so we're switching a lot. Okay, I got you. We're switching a lot. All right. Okay.
And actually, what this verse switches is there's exactly 4. 4 of the commonly accepted pairings are different per this theory, the flower power theory, which would be San Francisco, Charleston, New York, and Montreal.
You got a thing from a guy named Shiloh Dove that I loved his comment, but I thought it read something different. It says roses are red, violets are blue. I don't get it, but do you? But I thought it read roses are red, violets are blue. I don't get it, but you do you. And I thought that was funny.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. Rob Carajulio pointed out, why not just mention the verse that has the word rose in it? Windrose. St. Augustine. Shit, man.
Well, that's because we've already paired that verse
But what if we
with the
hadn't? Like, it's
we
got the
used
word
an
rose
we
in it.
huh?
It's got the word rose in it. It's just like the other one you were trying to do with eyes. It's got the word eye in it. Like, is it that confusing? Like, we've got to. I don't know.
See, the thing with the verse that has the word rose in it, right? It also has the acrostic Soloi in
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I know. And I think that is paired correctly.
So do I.
Yeah. And what I'm saying is, I don't think this
So why would I
works
pair that with the rose painting?
because it follows your logic. And if it follows your logic, that means the logic's flawed. So far, we've found two where the flowers go better with a verse that you haven't assigned them to. And that just means the logic's flawed. Now, it doesn't mean that it's wrong. It just means that currently the way you're using it is not producing replicatable results. It's producing anomalies. Just it's producing, you could just go anywhere with it. You got to kind of figure out, you got to narrow down the process a little bit more so that it only points at one place. I mean, in order for a puzzle, like a puzzle step to be correct, it could only point at one place. If it points at more, it's not correct. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean that's fair. That's fair. I see that. I see the point. Definitely.
Yeah. So maybe it's just like maybe like your logic isn't wrong. Like nobody I don't think anybody's trying to tell you you're wrong. Maybe it's just it needs to be tightened up. You got to figure out the why, right? Like right now you have an idea. Um we take these words and we pair them with other words in the verses, but maybe you have to figure out the why. Like there's a reason you have to do it in this specific way that 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 doesn't allow for anomalies. I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, but it's like it's interesting. It's an interesting path of thought to go down. It's definitely an interesting path.
Okay. Do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, man, keep going. Fine. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Okay. Let me see.
Why
Which ones
not?
have I missed so far? I'll save Roanoke for later because that one's another a bit of a walk,
Bit of a
similar to
stretchy one.
Cleveland.
That's fine.
So let's do Montreal.
Okay.
Okay. So so
All right.
Montreal.
Which verse we
Again,
on?
here's a case where first of all, fundamentally you have to determine what flower is in the painting. Okay. In
That's
my
not
opinion,
hard to do though. You just use
well,
birth flowers.
I agree with that, but there are multiple birth flowers for any given month of the year,
Right, but there's
right?
only like in the 80s when birth months were popular, birth stones and birth flowers, there was really only one accepted per month. There was the common, you know? I mean there's been multiple throughout the years and throughout generations and whatever, but in the 80s when this was a big deal, and I think it was a much bigger deal than most people remember. I'm sure you remember, I remember how big birthstones were. There was a common. There was just the one that was associated with that birth month. Candula. Candula, whatever the hell it's however you pronounce it.
Calendula. I've
That
always
one.
pronounced it Calendula. Just I don't know if that's correct or
Like
not. What do I know?
Caligula? That's nice. I'm gonna go with your pronunciation. Calendula.
I always think about how you and Bradley pronounce
Thucydides?
Thucydides, and
That was yeah.
cracks me up
I think it
every
was
time.
Brett, but yeah. Thucydides. I will never pronounce that name correctly. People have sat me down and were like, George, it's Thucydides. And I can say it, Thucydides, but I will never not say it as Thucydides.
That's classic. It was classic, definitely. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is I don't believe it's the calendula
Okay,
for Montreal. I
that's
believe it
fine.
to be a Cosmo.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a
Cosmo.
cosmo, which is
Okay, let me look
also
up Cosmo
a
flower.
recognized flower for that month, which is, what is that? October. October is Montreal painting. It's a birth flower for October, a
Okay,
cosmo.
here's your problem. It's a daisy. Cosmo is a daisy.
But we already have the daisy in
I
the
know.
Charleston painting.
Yes, I agree with you. Um, Cosmo is a genus with the same common name of cosmos, consisting of flowering plants in the daisy family. It's a daisy. It's just a type of daisy.
Okay.
Now I don't know. Look, man, I'm not a florist. This could be a common thing throughout flowers. I don't know. A larkspur could be a like a rose. I don't know. I don't know. There could be a lot in different families that aren't quite the same thing. But I looked up cosmos, and the first thing that says is a daisy. Someone in the comments
Okay.
will correct me if I'm wrong. Um,
When I take the flower that's in the Montreal painting, I call it the Montreal painting. I don't mean to offend people. Some people don't think there's a treasure in Montreal, a cask in
yeah,
Montreal. But
but
anyway,
it's fine.
that's image 9. When I look at the flower that's in image 9, it does not look like a calendula to me.
Let me look up a calendula. Keep going.
It
You're
looks
right.
like a cosmo to
It
me.
does not look like a calendula.
It looks more like a cosmo. Now, when you look up cosmos online, or let's say back in 1982, if you were to look up a cosmo in a flower book or a horticulture book or something, the one feature that distinguishes cosmos from other flowers is their slender stems. They have a slender stem. That's a distinguishing feature for that flower. And then I have a verse that says, find the slender path. Verse 10, right? Extends over the slender path.
You know what a calendula is? I just learned this. I don't know why we call
Tell
it a
me.
calendula. It's a marigold. That's all it is. It's a marigold. We should just be calling this marigold. I don't know why we call it a calendula.
I wouldn't mind calling it a marigold if that were in fact the flower it was, because I've never heard of a calendula until I got into this hunt, to be honest with you.
Tim just says
In all my
it'll be a
years.
marigold. You know what's interesting about your idea? If the flower is a calendula, marigold, it's the only painting that's got gold in it.
Okay, I can't
No, that's not true
necessarily
because
buy into that.
San Francisco's got a little gold in it too. Gold leaf.
I feel like the Charleston painting has a little bit of gold in it.
I can't. I don't know. Never seen it.
I feel like the what's essentially a likeness of Fort Sumter, which I believe is a likeness of Fort Sumter, is golden in color. But I digress.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me see. Which ones have I not covered yet?
New York.
Okay, oh, New York. New York is a good one. I like that one. That is the chrysanthemum, right? In image 12, the chrysanthemum. So the word chrysanthemum has another word nested within it, which is the word anthem. Okay, anthem is suggestive of the national anthem. Okay, a patriotic song, the national anthem.
Okay.
Then I have a verse that says, uh,
We
education and justice for all to see. Now I know what you're going to say is I just violated my own rule. I went across 2 verse lines. That's fair enough. Education and justice for all to see. Though between those 2 lines combined, it's got a little bit of a hint of the Pledge of Allegiance in it, right? Justice for all. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. that's another patriotic saying or phrase, whatever you want to call it, the Pledge of Allegiance. So I have national anthem and I have the Pledge of Allegiance. There's a little bit of a theme of patriotism going on there.
I like Jeffrey Spell in the comment said, I think the simple formula is number 4 equals April, 4th month. Look up April in the encyclopedia and it should say birthstone, diamond, flower, daisy. And this works 12 times. He's right.
Okay, I got to stop looking at the comments. They're distracting me.
They are distracting.
Okay. So anyway, that's my what I'm proposing theory wise is for how to pair the New York City painting to a verse.
Anthem for
Is
education and justice.
yes,
Neither of those things have anything to do with each
using
other.
a theme of patriotism.
Okay, but anthems aren't only patriotic things.
Okay.
I can think of some anti-patriotic anthems. A lot of them.
Okay.
I've been listening to quite a few of them recently.
It looks like the only one I haven't covered yet is
let's look.
Roanoke.
No. We didn't do Milwaukee.
Oh, Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Okay, Milwaukee's a little bit of a walk too.
Okay.
And honestly, in all fairness, I'll admit even Milwaukee's one that I feel like is a little stretchy, but it's the only thing I could come up with to complete the theory. So anyway, so what it is
it's a primrose.
Right. So everyone says, right? But here's the thing is
wait, hang on a second. I'm so sorry. Did the Bears win? I think the Bears.
I don't know.
I think in the comments
I hope they didn't because I'm around.
We're gonna fight.
I live in LA, but I wasn't watching the game, so I don't know.
I just, the Bear, like my dad grew up in Chicago, so I've always been like a Bears guy, and I hate football. I don't watch football, but I've always been like, go Bears. So I don't know. It looks like the Bears. Oh, it's in overtime. Never mind.
So this game's still on.
Yeah.
Okay. Go Rams. Okay.
Rams.
So where were we? We were on Milwaukee. Okay. So Milwaukee has an amethyst in it, which are generally purplish in color, right? But the painting, it's not really purple in the painting. The birthstone is kind of bluish.
Yeah.
Which is weird. It's a little strange, and it's something that people have theorized for forever about why that is. So what I'm suggesting is maybe the discoloration of the birthstone in the Milwaukee painting is a hint to the fact that maybe the birth flower is also discolored in that painting. Okay, so just open your mind to the possibility that maybe that flower is not supposed to be the cream brownish tan color that it is, that primroses are. Maybe that flower is supposed to be purplish in color too.
Okay.
Right? If other than the color, if that flower were purplish in color, it would look a lot like a
primrose.
Violet.
It would look a lot like a primrose. Because when you Google primrose, it says primrose. Vibrant, early blooming, perennial flowers beloved for their cheerful colors. Yellow, pink, purple, white, and compact forms, thriving in cool moisture. They're not all yellow.
What is the state flower of Milwaukee?
I don't know. But the painting flower is a primrose.
Hold on a second. I'm looking it up. See if I can find it.
It's the wood violet.
A violet. It's a violet, exactly. And I've found pictures of those violets online that they look very similar to the flower that's in the painting.
But we've established with a bunch of these that the flowers don't really look like the flowers are supposed to be, but they are those flowers, like in Cleveland, for instance. I'm looking up wood violets now. I don't know anything about plants. Wood violet,
I
sweet
only know what I
violet.
know for this theory. That's
It's
all I
just
know. That's what I've
so
memorized.
wood violet is just a violet. Okay.
So where I'm going with that, I have a picture of a violet, by the way. I should share it on the screen, but I don't even know if I can do that right now. But anyway, if it were a violet, violet sounds similar to the word viola or violin, okay, which are both string instruments. Okay, and then I have a verse with the word harpsichord in it, which is also a string instrument.
Okay.
Okay, a little bit of a walk. I get it. Fair
No,
enough.
I mean, like you could say it's a violet. It's fine because violet is a February birth flower. It's just not the common one. It's
Right.
fine.
And even, going back to Cleveland is I'm using a flower called an asphodel, which technically is not a birth flower for any of the months of the year, but the name daffodil is, and it derives from the name asphodel. So there's, I mean, it's a little bit of a layer of separation, but there's still a connection to the birth flower for the month, of March. Anyway, so that's the connection for the Milwaukee is violet, viola, or violin, and harpsichord.
I don't disagree. So Rob made a comment that said this is where changes in the litany might be useful, and they might be. He might be right, but we need to
Changes in the
study them
litany?
more.
You mean from the draft copy?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay, so
harpsichord is
Roanoke,
considered a
the
percussion
last
instrument.
the last one, Roanoke.
Okay,
So even I have to open my notes for this one. Hold on a second.
well, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
It's a carnation. Does this have something
it's
to
a
do with
carnation.
instant breakfast? Because that would be great.
It's a carnation, but is it a carnation? Okay,
Yes,
so
yes,
the
yes.
or is it? The reason I bring it up is because there is another flower called a yarrow. YARROW, yarrow, and there's I think different colors of this
I
flower,
mean, that looks
but
nothing like what's in the painting. Nothing.
but
And the
did you look it
Roanoke,
up?
I did. I'm
You
looking
looked
at
up.
it right now.
It looks the same to me. I'm
It
looking at it right now.
no, man. The painting looks like a carnation. The yarrow looks like
Okay,
a
so,
piece of
so
cotton with a bunch
here's
of
the
different
description.
flowers. And
Here's a description of the pearl yarrow. It says pearl yarrow features 3/4 inch double blooms resembling early daisies that mature into carnation-like flowers. Carnation-like. Anyway, the reason I'm targeting this yarrow, other than the
there's the
fact that
yarrow.
it's described as being carnation-like, is because of its scientific name, which is Achillea. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right.
Just go for it, dude.
Achillea parmica pearl. Achillea parmica pearl. The second word, parmica, right? It's got the syllables mica
I don't
in
get
it.
that.
It's
Hang on. Let me
it's
look.
got the word mica nested in
I get
parmica.
Achilleum folium. Achilleum. That's
Achillea parmica pearl.
so in
And then I
Wikipedia. In Wikipedia, the yarrow is Achillea millefolium. Achillea millefolium, commonly known as yarrow or common yarrow, is a flowering plant in the family name Asteraceae. That's what I get from Wikipedia. And sometimes Wikipedia is wrong. I don't see anything about mica.
okay. Well,
Look it up.
I forget. I what did you look up? Tell me again. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Just
Tell
looked
me
up
what you looked up.
yarrow. Yarrow.
Yarrow. Achillea millefolium.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Okay.
Now, what did you say it was? Let's look that up. Achillea
Uh,
mica.
Achillea parmica, which is spelled with a silent T, I think. PTAR mica. PTARMICA.
This her. Okay. Achillea is a Eurasian species of herbaceous perennial flowering plant in the genus Achillea. Common names include the sneezewort, sneezeweed, bastard perillary. This is my new favorite plant. European plurillary fair maiden. I think you've got the wrong plant. They don't really even look the same. Wild fancy is the most common name. I think I've heard of a wild fancy before. Yeah, I think you got the wrong plant. Achillea tarmica. So I got the Wikipedia page. I'll send it to you on for what you have, and I'll send it to
Yeah.
you on Facebook so you can check it out.
Okay.
So just so you will know it's the wrong. Like as soon as you see it, you'll be like, oh, yeah, it's the wrong plant.
You know, in all honesty, that was my least favorite of the entire theory that I put together was that connection there.
Yeah, let's see
The
if we can
best I
find
could
something
come up
for
with.
carnation. Which you're using the common verse, right? For Roanoke?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see what we got for Dianthus. Oof. Clove pink. That doesn't help. No. No, that's verse. That's painting. That wouldn't help. Let me pull up the verse next to this so I can see what I'm looking at here. If we were going for stuff in the paintings, I could totally help you out. But um, uh, so we've gotten a little stretchy. The name carnation is believed to come from Latin corona, a wreath, garland, chaplet, or crown, as it was one of the flowers used in the Greek and Roman ceremonial crowns. And then you have a verse that says, by dauntless and incomparable. And what is that other than a king?
A queen.
Okay, queen too. I would say
Royalty.
they're more conquerable than kings, but all right. I think Henry VIII. I think it was Henry VIII. Let us know that queens don't matter too much.
Okay.
But no, I mean that I'm trying. I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
No, I get it. I appreciate it. But here's the thing: is we got to connection number 12 out of 12, right? I made I don't know that arguably they're not rock solid, bulletproof connections for the other 11. So even if this Parmica connection is a little stretchy or loose, I mean, just by process of elimination.
I mean, they're all a little loose. Like we've had to change the flowers completely. We've had to change
I
the
didn't
names of the
change the
flowers.
flower. Well, I don't know. Okay, okay. I
What I
mean,
was saying before, like,
Maybell and Lily of the Valley, they're the same flower, just different names for the same flower.
well, one was a daisy. Like we changed
Yeah,
one to a daisy. Um,
Cosmo.
yeah, and this one, I don't know. Okay, I get it. I get it. I go back to what I was saying before, where the train of thought is a good one, but maybe it just hasn't been narrowed down as much. Because there's some problems with this, but they're not problems that you can't overcome.
Yeah. So yeah, I get it.
Uh,
That's fair. That's fair.
But it's fun talking about.
So, but the other thing that I see between verse and what I believe are the correct, the paintings and what I believe are the correct verses. Another way to connect them in my opinion, is city keywords, right? So, for example, St. Augustine, verse 9 has Siloy, right? The acrostic Siloy in it.
Hmm.
That would be a city keyword, in my opinion. Okay. And I think that's pretty much how we're pairing, making that association anyway. Um, so, as another example, would be verse 5. Verse 5 has the word citadel in it. Anybody that's ever been to Charleston or lived in Charleston or spent any time there knows that the Citadel Military Academy is a huge part of the culture in the city of Charleston.
Yeah.
I
But
mean, you'll tell me that there's other citadels in other cities, probably, I'm sure, but I see the word citadel as being a city keyword.
but there's another verse that's got an exact date from a park that's written in steel and a quote from a book that's about the city that also contains a quote that's in another verse about that city.
Yeah.
And it matches that verse matches the flow of a park completely to a T, line for
Mm.
line. Just because somebody hasn't found the cast there yet doesn't mean that that's not correct. If lines from the verse are written in iron in prominent places on that park, not somewhere like you gotta search for, not like the other line from that verse embedded in the sand, which is also written on a plaque 20 feet away from May 1913, but you gotta kind of look for it. But I get it, the Citadel's big, but the Citadel is also on a plaque in iron or concrete, one of those two, in another city, not far away from something else that's in the painting. You know, like these are, like, I get it. Citadel's big in Charleston. But just because that word's there doesn't really mean anything. I mean, shit, Dark Forest would be great for Cleveland because it's the forest city, but it's not for Cleveland. It's for Roanoke, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
I mean, some of
Yeah.
these
That's,
things, like I sometimes we get down these paths in our thinking where we forget the obvious. We have very few obvious things um in these puzzles, and then we think, well, they're obvious, they can't be correct or whatever. And then all of the puzzles we have that are solved, all of the clues are just dumb. They're just obvious and dumb. We thought Boston was going to be so difficult. And then John starts describing the clues in the puzzles, and they're just the dumbest things we've ever heard. Boston pops, and it says Boston right here. And oh, I didn't know that Ironsides didn't have a porthole. You know, we put so much thought into how these solves work, and then we realize he didn't even care enough to look if a ship had a porthole. You know?
yeah.
So I get it. Like my mind always goes back to it spells Boston right here. And
Yeah.
do you know how much we overthought that? Like the Charles Gate, was it the Charles Gate sign that looks like that dress, and what the hell is even that castle? And he was like, I don't even know what that castle is. It's some building. You know? This is the Boston Pops. Like, do you know how we oh, the best clue for Boston I've ever heard is the falcon is right next to the N in the dress. The beak is pointing at the N. Beacon Street. That was the best thing I've ever heard. John Michaels came up with that, and then John Palancar goes on TV and says Boston pops because the bubble's about to pop. Like, but we put so much thought into these, and I worry that we put way more thought than they did creating it. Way more. It was the Liberty Bell for Liberty Avenue, and then he was excited when it changed names. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely some ambiguities, right, in these clues. There's a lot of ambiguity.
but I don't think it's purposeful.
No.
I don't think there's a way you can figure out, like I just don't think it goes deeper than surface level. And I think most of our confusion with these puzzles is because they either didn't care or they just screwed up because they didn't have time. Like if anything anybody said about the creation of this puzzle is correct, they had a year from start to finish to do everything. And they could care very deeply about this puzzle, but only have a month, per puzzle to work on each puzzle. They're going to screw some stuff up, you know? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Um,
But I do like the thought because there is 100%, there has to be. Like, if there's not a way to verifiably pair these verses with this painting, with these paintings, then the puzzle is made much more haphazardly than anyone could have ever thought, you know? And I can't accept that. I just can't accept that they didn't put a method in there for pairing these. Whether or not it's pairing like a painting to a verse or pairing a verse and a painting to a city, which I still think that is more likely, pairing the two things to one thing. There has to be a way to do one of those two things, or this puzzle is just so haphazard we'll never solve it. Like, what's your opinion on that? Do you think this puzzle, like, so far it's been 40 some odd years and three have been solved? Do you think the majority of them haven't been solved because they're too complicated or because they're too vague?
uh, I think that it's like I said a moment ago, there's a lot of ambiguity from city to city. I don't know. I don't think they're really very complicated.
But the ambiguity, do you think it's there by design or do you think it's there because they just weren't exact enough?
I think it's there because they really didn't think it through enough.
Right, but that doesn't answer the question at all. Do you think it's do you think so? You don't. Well, I guess it does. You don't think the ambiguity is there by design.
No, I don't
Okay.
think it was deliberate. I'm not a big believer in that they built red herrings into these puzzles, at least not
No,
intentionally.
no.
I know John has said that there is some misdirection in these puzzles.
Yeah, but he's also clarified things like the Liberty Bell, right? Like I really think the misdirection is because of it's either like very wide ranging misdirection that it's pretty easy for us to suss out, or it's misdirection that came after the fact. It's changes. You know?
Hmm.
I don't think they intentionally tried to screw anyone up. I just don't think they're those kind of people. Like um I know like you could make part of these unsolvable like Byron could make part of these unsolvable as an effort to sell more books. Five or six of them get found right away and then a few of them take longer, maybe they're not written, maybe you just can't find them, but the books keep selling. I don't think he's that kind of person, is what I'm saying. Because they had plans for a second book, he would want as much press for this book as possible. So
Hmm.
I don't think they would write with red herrings in mind. I just don't think they had enough time.
I don't. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think if there are red herrings, I don't believe that they would have been deliberate.
Yeah.
I mean, even Byron thought that these puzzles were going to be solved within, a matter of weeks, right? He
Yeah.
thought they were too easy.
Jeff made another good point, which is in the comments, which has been made on this show a bunch. Byron always called it a treasure hunt. No one ever called this thing a puzzle until we came along. It was always a treasure hunt, and there's a difference between those two.
What is the difference? I get confused over this topic.
Okay, so a puzzle is like Masquerade, right? That was really the only mainstream puzzle around when Byron was doing this that he could compare to, which is you have a lot of different problems, and each of those problems give you a piece of information. And you use that piece of information combined with other pieces of information you get from other problems to create a sort of grand solution. Does that make sense? So you have
Yeah.
like four multiplication problems, and each one of those gives you a number, and then you add the number up, and then you have the answer. You add all of those numbers up, and you have the answer. That's a puzzle. A treasure hunt is a map and a series of directions, like you would see in Western movies, like where the two guys are on horseback and they're looking for the lost treasure, and they've got a map, and it's got a drawing of a tree with a mountain and a dotted line and an X, and then they have a series of directions to follow. Go to Dead Man's Trail and hang a left, and you'll find the tree or whatever. That's a treasure hunt. It's pretty in your face, but if you don't know where to start, you'll never find. Like if you don't have the directions, the map is useless to you. And if you don't have the map, the directions are useless to you. You have to put the two things together and use them both to get where you need to go. But there's no puzzle to it. It just tells you. And that's why things like Cleveland and Chicago and Boston have all made sense to me. Because once you use the verse and the image in Cleveland to find those columns or to find that wall, everything just works. Once you use the verse and the image in Chicago to find the Fountain of the Great Lakes, everything just works. You just follow the path. Once you use Boston to find Cops Hill Terrace, everything just works. There's nothing to work out. There's no problem to solve. You just follow the directions. And I think the main problem with most of these are we have found the right place to do them, but so much time has passed that it doesn't matter anymore. Like take the Fairmont solution in San Francisco, for instance. Everything there sort of works.
Hold on. The Fairmont theory. Go ahead.
Whatever. Um,
All right.
you guys can dig wherever the hell you want. If it's whatever. Everything works, and it works the same way as Chicago, and it works the same way as Cleveland, and it works the same way as Boston, except it's been 45 years, and the building's like, oh, we emptied that shit. We emptied that planter 10 years ago. We took all the dirt out of it, and there's nothing there. Everything works in Milwaukee at Lake Park. Everything works. You just follow the directions, and then you end up at a birch tree on your left, and you turn right just like the verse tells you to, and all the birch trees are dead. All of them that you're looking for, just dead. Because it's been too long. Charleston's the same. You stand at a bandstand, you follow the directions, you end up at an area of a park where construction is completely torn down a flower bed that's between two arms or whatever, It's just been too long. New Orleans is the same depending on where, like if you're a Gallier Hall person, it works in that entire park up till you get to that point in Gallier Hall that's been redone 100 times. It gets redone after every Mardi Gras. If you're a Storyland person, the image works great in Storyland. The verse works great in Storyland until you realize it's been redone 3 or 4 times since the 80s. That's our biggest problem. We look at this like a puzzle because the treasure hunt doesn't work anymore. Until it does, like in Boston, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think the puzzle, somebody said, and I think this would lead to your point. I think the puzzle versus treasure hunt argument's silly. The fact that there's a rebus in the painting kind of proves that there are indeed puzzle elements at play, and that's correct. There's a cross sticks. There's all kinds of little puzzle elements, but they're not like grand puzzle elements. We're not talking about Kryptos here. This isn't Cicada. This isn't even Masquerade. There's just little, like finding a quote in a book is a puzzle, especially when the words have been changed. Thucydides is north of Xenophon. That's not what the quote says.
Well, one thing I've always looked at it as is, at the very least, I believe the paintings to some degree are puzzles. The reason is because the clues in the paintings are pointing to specific places within the cities. I think part of the problem that we're tasked with is arranging those connections in some kind of a logical order. To me, that's basically a puzzle,
So
trying to put something, arrange something into a logical order.
well, so I was reading the comments and I missed a little bit of what you said, but I think I got the gist. You're talking about the elements of the paintings that you have to arrange in some sort of logical order, but you don't necessarily have to. You know, in order, like the Boston painting, you figure out the semaphore flags, you figure out Boston pops, you figure out the Boston globe, you figure out all of the elements. It says Boston in the painting. There's a porthole with iron sides and yada, yada, yada. You figure out all of those things, and they're just sort of, they don't lead you on any path. They just help you when you're there, or they help you get to a general area. They help you get to Boston. They help you get to Boston's North End. The problem, like, everybody accepts all of that. The like people get into trouble when they're like, okay, now let's try to figure out a way to get from the library to the park with all of this information, and it never makes any sense. And the rest of the puzzles, like, none of them work that way. You know, that's what gets people all sticky when they start making the puzzle more than it is. You know, when you start, for whatever reason, saying we've got to get from point A to point B, like if you try to force that, everything just starts to seem kind of finicky and weird, because it is. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to, like, I'm I'm not trying to, like, be an ass. I hope you're not taking it that.
No, not at
Okay.
all.
Okay, good.
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, I have my convictions about these hunts. I'm
Yeah.
not going to use the word puzzles. I have
No,
my
no, you
convictions
use the
about
word.
them.
We use the word puzzles. You know, it's
Yeah.
interchangeable at this point. I mean, because there, whoever said it was right. There are puzzle elements, but I think when you talk about puzzles, people get way more, I don't know, way more complicated than a rebus or an acrostic. They just start going down these huge rabbit holes without thinking, like, every single thing we know about the solved puzzles are basic, very basic. And we've now had extensive interviews with people who made this puzzle, and they have all said either Byron had no input or it's all just pretty basic. You know,
Hmm.
we haven't had an interview with John Palancar where he's gone over any of the three solved puzzles where he has said anything that blew our minds, or where he said anything that wasn't x equals y. He's never said x equals y, which leads you to z. It's x equals y. These letters spell Boston. This is the porthole for Ironsides. This bird means Boston Pops. This means Boston Globe. X,
Right.
Y.
Right. But he's never expanded on any of that to say what the, if there was ever any underlying reason for those connections.
So why would you assume there is?
Well,
If
I'll
if
tell you
you've got
why.
so
I mean, ultimately, the objective here is to identify a dig spot, right? So, I mean, to do that, you have to make some deductions here,
why?
but you have to make some deductions about what the various clue connections mean in order to identify that dig spot. Where am I going to go dig? I have to make sense of the clues that I see in the painting and the
Right?
verse.
Yeah. But what keeps you from just using surface level clues? Brian and Andy just used surface level clues. They found one just fine. Rob and the rest of the kids use surface level clues. They found one just fine. Jason Krupat and probably various members of Reddit used surface level clues and they found one just fine. Just because, like, you can't get the surface level clues to fit in a specific spot doesn't mean it goes any deeper than that. Like, we've sat John down and he said, all right, I'll tell you everything you want to know about Boston. And it ain't shit that's not surface level. He sat in an interview about Cleveland with a bunch of searchers, a bunch of them. And every time they went deeper than surface level, he pulled them back. They asked about overlays, and he said, I'm not creative enough for that. They asked about color changes in the gems, and he was like, nah, don't worry about stuff like that. You know, you asked
Yeah.
how he put together Cleveland, and they were like, "We just drove past the park," and we were like, "This one's good," and I'll go take some pictures, and Byron jotted down his notes, and we left.
Yeah, but by the same token, right, George, is JJP sits there and makes the comment that, oh, there's all kinds of astronomical and mathematical and all these
Yeah,
other ickles that play into the solutions to the puzzles, and
yeah, and
what
then
else?
and gift giver, like I think about the mathematical thing, and I think about how deep people get into the mathematical thing, and then I think about the gift giver post where they're like, you have to add something from here and subtract it from over here. There's a plus and a minus side in the painting. You got to figure that. Like, there's your mathematical. It's not. It's dumb. We haven't figured out what it is yet, but that doesn't mean it's complicated. I think he also
Yeah.
said something about complex but not complicated.
Okay. What about the color shifting?
He said
Right?
that
Didn't he said something about at least one of the puzzles has a color shifting element to it.
no, he said there's things in it, maybe like color shifting or whatever the fuck it is when you take the mirror thing. And he also talked about how, I don't remember if this was in a podcast or not. He talked about how he had this painting that where part of it looked black, but only one part was black, and his friend put it in Photoshop and was able to adjust the things and find the one spot that was black. I don't know what the fuck he's talking. Like, artists talk about some weird shit. I don't know. I mean, it's possible there's some I would say within the paintings themselves. It's possible that things go more than surface level because John is trying to get an idea across to you with this art. He's trying to get like Boston Pops. In order to get that across to you, he has to plant those words in your head somehow with art, and the only way he knows how to do it is with a bubble that's not popping. I don't fucking know. But so I could see his art going more than the surface level with him just trying to get ideas across. But the verses, I can't see it. They're hard enough if you just make them point A to point B. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's a piece that I think we're all missing is we don't really have,
Oh,
unfortunately, Byron is not around anymore to kind of give us the walkthrough of the solved hunts for the verses, right? Like what similar to what JJP does with the paintings, or with Cleveland and the Boston painting. We never really got that. Well, maybe Brian and Andy did for the Cleveland verse, but I don't know that anybody's ever walked or Byron ever walked us through the Chicago verse or and was obviously not never any of the other verses.
I mean, Brian and Andy got a little bit, but it was all surface level stuff too, except for the feet thing, where it was 10 by 13 was feet. I don't know if he was right about that. I don't know if he remembered so much of the shit that he didn't remember in that conversation. Like, he didn't remember where the gems were, and he didn't remember that he had, what was it, $100,000 in savings bonds or $10,000 in savings bonds in the safety deposit
Yeah.
box with.
Yeah, and he couldn't remember where he put the solutions to the hunts.
Yeah.
That to me is just unfathomable. That
Well, it's
it's
not to
it's almost
me.
irresponsible to a
You,
point.
he's a publisher, man. He goes from one project to the next, and once he's done with a project, that project's over. Also, this should make you happy. The Bears lost.
Nice. Anyway,
I don't. I don't know. I don't know. I. You know. I want. I feel like there's a middle ground. I feel like this puzzle exists in the middle ground between the very complicated people and the very easy people. I feel like there are elements of both. You know, but I feel like there's not going to be an overarching like solution to all of this. There's probably not one thing that works in all of them. Just because of the way John described him and Byron working on this puzzle was very piecemeal. It was very like, we finish this one and then we go on to this one, but we had a new idea, so we're going to incorporate it into this, and maybe that moves on to the third where we have another idea where it, you know, in order for that method to work, you can't have a method. Like, you can't have an overarching method from start to finish. You just can't, because if you start changing shit, the method doesn't work anymore. Um, I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of disagree with that. I almost feel like you need to have an overarching method. Otherwise, you're just shooting in the dark.
If it's a puzzle, if it's a treasure hunt, you don't need a method at all. You need to find a location and follow the directions.
Okay, well, you have to figure out how to pair image to verse. There's got to be some way to do that.
Yeah, I tend to think
I
it's
mean, the
city.
Japanese hint suggests there's a way to do it. Unfortunately, none of us have been able to figure that out, what that is.
Well, we had a spreadsheet episode last week, and I tend to think
Yeah,
it's
I
city
watched it.
because
Yeah.
once you incorporate cities, it becomes very easy to pair the verses in the image, not knowing anything about any of the solutions. Once you put a column for verse, a column for painting, and you put a column for city in the middle, they all connect. They all just connect. And it becomes very easy.
Okay.
You don't agree? Well, you have different pairings, so no, you don't
I
agree.
do. And I don't agree with all of the commonly accepted pairings. Like I said, there's four in particular that I will never agree with. I mean, I get the arguments in favor of the commonly accepted pairings. I just don't agree with them. I
Why?
have other
So why?
pairings.
I'm curious why that is, and I'm not trying to beat you down. I'm just trying to get sort of inside your head. So if someone can show you an example of how those three columns work, and very easily pair verses to paintings to cities, why is that not enough? Why? What else? What else is more convincing?
Okay, so let's take Charleston for an example. You guys have latched on to this May 1913 thing
Yeah.
with the capstan.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is that park has been dug, just tons of digging and searching in that park has gone on over the years
Yeah.
to no success, to no
Yeah.
success.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, maybe that suggests that maybe something's wrong there. Maybe the
Maybe it's
pairing is not correct.
Maybe it just suggests that people are digging in the wrong spot, or maybe it suggests that all of the construction that's been happening in the park over the past 50 years has destroyed the cast. But like that, I mean, those two things. If you have a painting with the outline of Charleston in it, and then a verse that has a book quote about Charleston, and a date that's on a monument in Charleston. Now, and I know people are like, "Oh, it's May 1913. It could be anywhere," but it's not. It's right there in Charleston. That suggests to me that those two are correct. Especially if the verse is just describing all of the shit that's in the park. The bandstand, right next to the water fountain, right next to the arms extended, right next to the embedded in the sand quote, and all of these other things that are just right there. You can just see them.
Okay, so here's the thing: is personally what I believe is these paintings and verses basically paint a path through the city. Okay, to me it's clear that that's what happened for Chicago, that's what happened for Cleveland,
But it
and
didn't.
I floated a theory for how that could be interpreted for Boston. Whether or not that's correct is arguable. I agree. So I can't really use Boston as solid evidence
Yeah.
to support my belief. But Cleveland, in my opinion, is the best example of it. The reason I say that is because to me, that pattern is a pattern that's meant to be identified for all 12 of these hunts.
You're saying in order to solve any of these hunts, you got to solve all
To
12.
solve any of them, all 12 of these, is you identify this path,
Okay.
right? And this is why I don't accept some of the image and verse pairings, is because I believe I've identified the 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 verses that I'm using basically complement the path that I've identified from the paintings, the clues in the painting. It extends or it overlaps that path.
Right.
I can't do that for four of the paintings. I cannot do that with the commonly accepted verses.
So for almost half of them,
A third,
a
four
third,
out of 12.
third of them. Okay. Out of the examples of solved puzzles we have, none of the people who have solved them have needed any of this. Have
No, they didn't. They did not. I agree. So definitely luck is definitely
you're saying that
a
all three of these people got lucky when they
yeah.
just followed the verse. All they did was follow the verse. All they did was follow the
No,
verse.
that's not true. We know that the guys in Chicago were leaned heavily on the painting.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe it's 50-50
All
even.
they did was follow the directions. They went down the verse and they were like, oh, there's that, and right behind it is this thing in the painting. And then they went down, they followed the directions. Keep going down this road till you get to this. Oh, right behind is this thing in the painting. Else it's left. What's that got to be? Oh, it's probably Lincoln. He's right there sitting Lincoln over his shoulder, 10 by 13. Let's count some shit and dig a hole. I mean, they got a picture to help him. I mean, what the guys from Cleveland were like, there's a wall. Let's just go to the wall and dig.
But it's not really comparing apples to oranges when you bring up the Chicago crew, right? Because they had no precedent to go on. Those were the trailblazers.
Who
They kind of,
cares?
in my opinion,
That is the
and no offense
that
to
is the
Rob and
perfect
that crew,
reason. It's
but
the
I feel
perfect
like they just
reason.
kind of stumbled through it.
It's the perfect example because they had nothing. They had nothing solved. They had no idea which paintings or verses matched. They had no idea why the dates were important, no idea the flowers were important. They had none of this, and they still figured it out.
They figured it out, but they didn't really figure it out entirely on their own, right? I mean, come on, let's
Well,
be honest about it.
they got a picture that helped them narrow down by feet. By
But
feet.
still, they still had a little help from Byron.
By feet. Their first message from Byron was, you're standing on top of it. I can't believe you haven't found it.
But that gave them the motivation to keep working that spot.
Yeah. If the creator of the hunt says you're standing on top of it, I can't believe you haven't found it, gave them motivation. Yeah. They didn't need any of this other stuff. And in fact, in 3, none of it's been needed. But what you're saying is it's got to be there. When no one has needed it, and no one can conclusively give a decent enough example where really anybody agrees of a path of any kind. Shit, Matt worked on the path
I
theory
hear
for
you.
years.
I've heard you say this many times, and I just can't comprehend how you could get to that conclusion, honestly.
Because
I
it
can't.
is.
I look at the solution to the Chicago puzzle, and I just don't see how anybody could conclude that there was not a path that was intended in the solution to that
Oh,
hunt.
well, yeah, okay. You went down 2 blocks and turned left. There's your path.
No, it's not 2 blocks. It's not 2 blocks. You've got the water tower, which is what? How many miles away from Grant Park? You have to include that in the path.
No, you don't. That is not in the path. It's just a prominent building in a city. It's the same as the Bulls logo. You ain't got to include the stadium the Bulls play in. You just want that to be part of a path when it's not. And come on, it's on the same freaking road, so it's easy for you to be like, yeah, it's a path. It's on the Miracle Mile or the whatever the hell mile it is.
Magnificent Mile.
Where that shit doesn't work in Cleveland, where the terminal tower is like 5 miles away downtown. And it doesn't work in Boston, where
the Cleveland
building,
an even stronger example of the existence of a path in the solution.
Where there's nothing in that painting that's not in that park except for the terminal tower. Nothing. And nothing in that verse that's not in the park except for a road.
Well, wait
and
a minute.
only
is
part
that
of
true?
road.
Is that true? What about Euclid Avenue?
That's a road.
That's nowhere near the park.
Okay, it's a main road. That's fine, but it's also nowhere near terminal
What about
tower.
the Soldiers and Sailors Memorial? Now I know you're going to say that you don't buy into that connection, but that
because
came from John's mouth.
Yeah,
right,
Soldiers and Sailors came from John's mouth, but he also said that helmet is on the Soldiers and Sailors monument, and it's not. It's just not. So was he mistaken?
Where his exact words?
Which part? Okay, so wait. Which part was mistaken? Which part was he mistaken about? Was he just mistaken about the helmet being on the Soldiers and Sailors monument?
I don't think
and the
so,
Soldiers
no.
and Sailors monument is important?
The way it was meant to be.
Find me that helmet on the Soldiers and Sailors monument then.
All I'm saying is I think that what he meant was
No. No, if you doubled down on that. You think what he said was what he meant. So find me that helmet. Find it.
Well, okay, so we need to go back and read the
No, no, no,
transcript
no, no,
or
no,
watch the
no,
video
no, no,
because
no.
the
That
exact words,
helmet
but
is
the
on the
way I
Soldiers and
interpreted
Sailors
what he
Monument.
said, my recollection of what he meant was that that helmet was representative of just war in general.
He didn't say shit about war. He said that helmet was on the Soldiers and Sailors Monument. So find it. So he
Okay,
was
I have to
mistaken
I'll
about the
have to review
Soldiers and
that.
Sailors Monument somehow. And it's which preference? Which preference is it? Is he mistaken about which city the Soldiers and Sailors Monument's important for? Or is he just like fucked up about the helmet? Or is it both? You gotta pick one.
I don't know.
He was wrong one way or another. Both one way helps me, one way helps you. Which
Yeah.
way was he wrong? Because that's it. He's wrong.
Well, if he said that that helmet was on the monument, then that would be the one that he was wrong about, clearly, because that helmet is
As
doesn't look like anything that's on that monument.
no. So let me ask you this: if there's a path, what's the point of putting that wall in there? What's the point of putting the columns in there? And
Those are along the path because those are along the intended
in
path.
the verse, why is it important to seek the columns for your search?
Okay, so that verse line comes well after the dig here line, right? At that point in the verse, you've already found the cast.
Oh, so you just got to see the columns for no reason.
Well, I didn't
Seek
go
the
that far.
columns
I didn't
for
say
your
it's for no
search.
reason. But all I'm saying is everything up to the verse line, 7 steps up you can hop, follows a linear path, beginning at the terminal tower.
I mean, linear path, I don't know. The entirety of that verse happens within 200 feet. You could rearrange that verse any way you want and it still works. It's just
I
pointing shit
agree.
out. It's just pointing shit
I
out to
didn't
you.
say that the path is that the verse identifies the entire path. I'm saying the verse complements or overlaps or extends the path. It doesn't necessarily mark the entire path. The
So how do
painting
you get
also,
what? How do you use the verse to get from the terminal tower to the Greek Cultural Garden? I don't even understand this.
you don't. You follow the path from the terminal tower to the Soldiers and Sailors Monument
How do you do
to
that?
Euclid.
How do you do that? How if you were just a searcher in 1982 and you got this book, how do you do this path? How do you? Okay,
I take a
you're
thumbtack.
like here's the
I,
terminal tower. Let's go there. And then where?
I take a thumbtack and I put it, boom, right there on the terminal tower on my map on the
Okay.
wall,
All right.
on a corkboard,
Yeah.
right? And then I take a tack and boom, right there on the Soldiers and Sailors
Okay. Let me
Monument,
stop you right
right?
there. Let's say you're a kid in 1982. You got your tack on the terminal tower. You're about to put your tack on the Soldiers and Sailors Monument. Why the hell are you doing that?
Because you're making notes of things, of connections that you've made
Okay.
to the elements in the painting. It's like I
What
see
element in
this.
the painting connects you to the Soldiers and Sailors Monument?
Well, again, this is I'm going
No,
by
no, no.
what
This
John
is
said. This
wait,
is in
wait, wait, wait. No,
hindsight.
no, no.
I admit it.
Let
It's in
let.
hindsight. I
But
admit it. It
how does
came
it
from his
work?
mouth.
But how does it?
Huh?
I'm asking like how it works. If that helmet is not on the Soldiers and Sailors Monument, if it's just not, this path does not work.
Look, I'm not saying you start out in 19 back in, well, let's say, when was the Cleveland cast found? That was in 1990. Was it 95? Right? I'm not saying that you're looking for a path necessarily
Okay.
in 95. All I'm saying is you're putting pins on a map to make note of connections that you've made with the elements in the painting,
Okay.
things that
So
look familiar to you, like,
let's
oh, that
forget.
looks like the terminal tower, so
Let's
I
for,
put a pin there.
let's forget the
Okay.
let's forget the let's just ignore the Soldiers and Sailors Monument for a minute. Let's get from the
Okay, fine.
terminal.
Fine,
Let's get from the
because
terminal
there's
tower
not
to the cultural
much of
gardens.
a distance from terminal tower to the beginning of Euclid Avenue. You don't have, you could cut the Soldiers and Sailors Monument out and still have a somewhat recognizable path in the end of all this. So that's
That's fine.
fine. Let's take the Soldiers and Sailors Monument out of it. I'm going to put a pin on the terminal tower, and then I'm going to put a pin on Euclid Avenue. And then I'm going to put a pin on, if anybody had recognized it back then, I'll put a pin on Liberty Boulevard. Euclid Avenue intersects Liberty Boulevard, right? So I could put a pin there at that intersection, technically. Okay. And then I could put a pin at Parkgate Avenue. You might recognize on a map that the tail of the centaur looks similar in shape to Parkgate Avenue. I mean, it's easy for us to say in hindsight, I admit it. But all I'm saying is right now, I'm just identifying connections to the elements in the painting. And then when it's all done, or when a large portion of the elements in the painting are accounted for, I step back and I look at my map and I say, oh shit, look at that. That formed a path from the terminal tower over to the Greek cultural garden.
I'm checking your work. Give me a second. Let me make sure this is correct because I don't know if this is correct. I'm trying to get from the terminal tower to Euclid Avenue, and I'm trying to do it in a reasonable way.
It's
Euclid
right on the
Avenue
other
is a
side of
very
Public
straight.
Square. It's right on the other side of Public Square from the terminal tower.
It is, if you are in a car, at best, 17 minutes away, 11 miles. Let's do walking. To walk from the terminal tower
where
to
does
Euclid
it say in the
Avenue.
book that you have to walk this path? It doesn't say tell us that.
Dude, you're
anywhere.
just telling
I
because it's a
didn't say you had
path.
to walk
You
it.
have to go down the path in some way. If you're not walking this
When I
path,
went
what
to
is the
Cleveland
point?
for the meetup, I took the bus from
What it,
the terminal tower to the.
fuck it, let's do the bus. The bus takes an hour to go from terminal tower to Euclid Avenue. It takes an hour. Let's do walking. Walking, it's three hours. It's a long ass way, man.
I agree.
Let's
There's no way
go.
anybody would walk it. It's not practical to walk it, especially with a shovel in your hand.
Greek Cultural Gardens. Let's do Terminal Tower, Euclid Avenue, Greek Cultural Gardens. There's our path. If you were to walk it, it takes 5 hours and 42 minutes. Shit. If you were to drive, that whole drive takes a half hour. Euclid Avenue is it's long. Well, that's the beginning of Euclid.
The kids in Chicago didn't walk from the water tower to the Bowman statue, right? They took the train, if I remember correctly, or they were given a ride by their parents or something like that.
They drove in their car.
Okay.
I understood this Euclid Avenue thing. I never understood why. Like, I get it. Just, like, in order to go, you've got to go all the way west and then down and then back. It doesn't make any sense. Chicago's great. Yeah, it started the terminal or started the water tower and just walk down the road. It's like 4 miles or something. Boston doesn't make any sense because that building, John said, is in a college somewhere. We don't even know what that building is.
No, but wait a minute. So, okay, so we're going to talk about Boston then. So look, we know that the library.
We don't know shit about the library. We know that there are two names. We know that there are two names. We know there are two names on the verse that are included in names on the library, and I can't remember how many names are on that library because I fucking counted them for the Boston video. There was like 3,000 names on that library.
I get it, but hear me out. Let me finish my thought. We know that the library is represented in the painting.
No, it's not.
Right?
John has never said anything about the library. John has never said
inspiration for the ferry.
John, he said it was from some art.
Inside the library.
Sure. Okay. All right. Fine. Let's go there. Fuck. Start at the library. A random fairy from a random painting on the library. Go. Let's go. All right. Go from the library.
Okay. So I'm gonna skip a verse line here for a second. Let's go to the line. Hold on. Wait a second. I have it up on my screen. Hold on.
Can I take a break? I really just have to use the restroom.
That's fine.
Do you need to use the restroom
while I'm waiting?
No, it'll only take a second. Do you want to grab a drink or something, man? We've been on this a long time, and you want to get a drink? Do you want to take 2 minutes?
How do I pause? How can I pause the camera? I don't know how to do this.
Hit the camera button.
Camera button.
Yeah, it looks like a little down. You might have to move down a little bit, like your mouse cursor.
I see it. I see it. Okay, I'm gonna pause my camera.
Okay,
I'm gonna go get a glass of water. All right.
We'll be arguing again shortly, guys.
Yes, I'll be back. Okay.
Are there people still watching? I haven't even looked at the comments. Did everybody get to see my limited edition Wu Tang Crocs as I was walking away? Hi! Okay, Boston.
People are still here. I'm
Yeah.
still seeing comments scrolling up. So
Yeah, I haven't read them.
I mean, either I get too distracted with those. I can't. I can't
Um,
follow those.
hey, can I ask a non secret question?
Sure.
Is everything going okay with the thing that happened?
Yes. Thank you. It is. We
Good.
are actually uh, on track to move back in by the end of next month.
I was really worried about you for a while there, man. So I'm really glad. Like on a personal level, super fucking glad things worked out because I know that was a bad situation.
Yeah. We we're we're one of the few people that whose insurance company stepped up and was actually really good to us.
Good because I've heard some
So
horror stories.
yeah, that's the norm actually. Those horror stories,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
All right, so let's go back to arguing with each other. You're dumb.
I forget
Boston,
where we were.
Boston Library.
Yeah, Boston. Okay, so let's
Let me
talk
pull up.
about.
Let me pull up my map of Boston real quick while we're doing this.
Let's forget about for a moment. Let's skip the 5 steps verse line
Okay.
because I don't know that we're ever gonna come to any agreement ever on what the 5 steps are. Right? That's got to be the most debated line in all of the secret.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think we all agree, probably, that in the area his direction is north.
Yeah.
Right? If Thucydides or Thucydides.
Look at these.
Anyway, so in the area of his direction is north. Okay, so here's my argument, and I feel like this has merit. Okay, the Green Tower of Lights. All right, when you look back and you research what the city of Boston looked like back in 1982, right? You had I-93 ran right through downtown Boston as an elevated freeway, right? The elevated freeway was known as the Central Artery. Okay, and that thing was green as hell. That thing was painted green. I mean, No denying that that's green. And I mean, I have photos. I admittedly have never been to Boston. I admit it. All I know about Boston is what I've researched online, but it has a ton of streetlights on it, or it did back then on the I-93 freeway through that stretch through downtown, right?
Most
The
do, yeah.
central artery stretch.
Yeah.
To me, that qualifies as a green tower of lights, and it qualifies for being in the middle section because it's named the central artery.
Okay. You've just taken away two very intricate parts of how to solve once you get on site, but all right.
So coincidentally, if I were to take the T line, the Boston T, their subway, from the Central Library, it would 5 T stops would get me to Haymarket, which
Okay.
is right up against the Central Artery.
Okay.
Okay. So that's what I'm saying is I could start at the library because it's represented in the painting, in my opinion, by way
That's
of the
fine.
ferry in the painting.
Cool. Yeah, I agree.
Okay. I take 5 stops. That's take 5 steps, 5 stops.
Whatever.
A little stretchy, maybe,
Yeah.
but not unfeasible to get to the Green Tower of Lights.
Cool. Let me ask you this. Why are you ignoring everything else?
What am I ignoring?
Well, you got the Boston Library via the little painting of the ferry, right? But
Yeah,
you're
the mural,
ignoring the
sure.
Boston Globe. You're ignoring the Boston Pops. So
No.
those are two other very prominent buildings that
Okay. See,
they're
this is
trickily hidden in the painting, but they're there, and we're ignoring them.
this is where I'm not really my entire theory about the overarching, template, the general template. The verse is not necessarily the entirety of the path to treasure ground. You have
We're
to
talking
account for
about
the
the verse.
painting, like
We're
you just
talking
said,
about the
right? I've
painting.
got to
Yeah.
account for Boston Pops. I've got to account for Boston Globe. Okay, so my full theory for Boston has been posted in the Facebook group, but I'm going to summarize real quick. Is I believe the path is always meant to start at an iconic building within the city. Okay, for Boston, I believe that starting point to be Fenway Park. Okay, if you look at it on a map, I can trace a path from Fenway to Symphony Hall, I think it's called in Boston. From Fenway to Symphony Hall. Symphony Hall would be representative of where the Boston Pops plays. That's their headquarters. Okay. And then from there, Central Library. Now the verse kicks in. I have an overlap between verse and painting.
You remember him
Now
saying
when
there's no overlays,
I
right?
get off the subway at Haymarket, I'm not far from Salem Street. It's only a block or two away to the beginning of Salem Street, which takes me right past Old North Church and right into the North End.
Okay. All right. Whatever. This is the most
I
confusing
mean, I
fucking.
don't expect to change your mind, George, or whatever, but
It's
I'm just
just so
explaining
like
my perspective.
it's so freaking confusing. You've got to take away intricate, like in very important parts of the verse to use to solve while you're on site. You got to take away those parts. You've got to completely rework the way the verse tells you it's the north end. You got to take a very, very complicated clue. If Thucydides is north of Xenophon, take 5 steps in the area of his direction. That's a very complicated clue just to tell you north end of Boston and take 5 steps somehow there. You completely break it and make it way more complicated. You use a clue for a starting point that we didn't even know existed until the painter told us, except that it just so happens to be in the place that other people thought because of 2 names included and 3 like this is a force. This is so much like everything is just forced, and it's like how do you argue against it? Other than just being
Yeah,
like, there's no fucking way
yeah.
anybody can come up with this.
I mean, if we're going to talk about forces and stretches, right? I mean, I know one of your favorite connections for the Boston hunt is to associate the USS Constitution with metal
Ironsides.
walls.
Ironsides, metal walls. That's not that difficult.
But
What's a
wait a
wall?
minute
It's a
now.
fucking
Wait,
side.
there's
What's
nothing
iron? It's
metal about
metal.
that ship. That is a wooden hulled ship.
Its
There's
name
nothing
is
metal about it.
Ironsides.
I know that, but it's got nothing metal about it. There's
Who
no
gives a
metal
shit?
walls.
What is
There are no
iron?
metal
Let me
walls.
ask
If
you a
the verse
question.
line
Let
said,
me ask you a question. What is iron?
it's a metal. I know
It's
where
a
you're going. I
metal.
get it.
What's
I
a
get it.
wall?
But if the
What's
but
a
that's the
wall?
thing. There
What's
are
a
no
wall?
metal
Like if
walls
you
on
were
that
in a
ship.
box, if you were in
There's
a
no metal
box,
walls. If the verse said
stop,
near
stop,
those who
stop.
pass the
If you
Colosseum,
stop, because like you're trying to talk your way out of this because you can't. Iron is a metal. If you're in a box and the floor is above you and the floor is below you and the ceiling is above you, where are the walls?
they're to the side. But let me ask you this: how does Ironsides pass? What are you using for the Colosseum, and how does that ship pass the Colosseum?
I don't fucking know. I mean, the Coliseum seems to be the ice rink that Jason said was the ice rink right next to the baseball fields. But iron
Yeah.
sides and metal walls, I know what that is.
So we
And I
know
know what the middle
Ironsides.
section is. And I know what feel at home is.
So we know Ironsides occasionally leaves its dock and goes out and sails, out in the harbor, whatever, on display. But if you look at where that ship is docked relative to the ice skating rink, that ship never passes anywhere near the ice
No,
skating rink.
that you're
There's no
reading
way
you're
it's
reading
possible.
you're reading that verse wrong.
I'm reading the word in the verse. It says near the
Hang on, let me go to the
passes
Boston.
the Colosseum with metal walls. It has to pass the Colosseum with metal walls.
No, dude, you're reading it. You're not. Hang on, give me a second. Let me pull up the Boston verse. What you're reading is near those who pass the Colosseum with metal walls. Right?
Right.
Green Tower of Louts in the middle section, near those who pass the Colosseum with metal walls. You're looking for Green Tower of Lights in the middle section of something near those who pass with metal walls, or near those who pass the Colosseum with metal walls. The way I look at that is you're looking for that middle section of those ball fields near those who pass, which right behind you is the gigantic, most famous cemetery in the world. With metal walls being Ironsides and the Colosseum being the fucking ice rink that's to your left. Like, it's describing things that are north, south, west, and north, south, and west of you. There was a way to do east, but I can't remember what it is. But you're back to the stairs. It's also describing the thing behind you. Face the water, the thing in front of you. All the letters are here to see. We're talking about Ironsides again. Like, we're just talking about directions. Like, it's talking about things that are behind, beside, in front of you, around you. Do this, do that. Does that not make sense?
I'm rereading the verse right now to see
Here,
if I could
here's let me
understand your
let me
explanation.
let me see if I let me just walk you through how I read the Boston verse, right? Because it's very simple to me, and I don't know all of it. And I don't pretend to know all of it. I don't know if this is 100% correct or not, and I'll never profess to know that. But I read, if Thucydides is north of Xenophon, take 5 steps in the area of his direction. You got to find that quote. At the time, there will be a Thucydides in New York and a Boston or whatever the fuck. It's giving you the directions, right? It's telling you if this person is north of this person, take 5 steps in the area of his direction. What's his direction? He's north. Take 5 steps in the north area of X. That's all that line tells you. Take 5 steps in the north area of X. So the north end of Boston. A green tower of lights and then it just describes what you're looking, where you're at in the north end. A green tower of lights in the middle section, near those, the green tower of lights in the middle section of the 3 ball fields, the middle ball field, middle section.
Yeah, I agree. I
Near
agree with
those
that
who
part.
near those
We're
who pass
probably
the
in perfect
Colosseum.
alignment with the rest of that verse.
Yeah, probably, because it's pretty simple. It's dumb. So dumb we
So,
didn't even think
okay.
about it.
So, okay, so you don't believe that the verse is meant to start at the library.
No. No. I think that confuses, I think that is what confused searchers in the past. The people that were constantly trying to get from the library to Charles Gate. Those 2 words Nobody putting the thought into those two words, Thucydides not being north of Xenophon on the library, but those two words among 3,000 other like names. You know, that's what screwed people up the most about Boston, was starting at that stupid library.
So, but here's the other thing, and I just find this too compelling. It's just it's too much of to be coincidence.
I
Okay, so the last verse lines they say in the last verse line period, the very last line, in truth be free. Okay, a lot of searchers want to associate that verse line to the Freedom Trail, and I get it, right? Because it's got the word free in it, and I know that you're not a fan of any connections to the Freedom Trail, right?
mean, it doesn't matter. I think my main problem is just what you were said, that people associate that line with the Freedom Trail, but it's Boston. You can associate that line with anything.
But here's the thing: as I enter the Central Library, there's an inscription above the main entrance to that building that says "Free to all who enter," or something to that effect. Okay, free. It has the word "free" there. And as I enter that building, I'm in the vestibule or the foyer of the building, right? There are three pairs of iconic doors that go you from the foyer into the actual library, for lack of a better word. Those doors have words inscribed on them, right? One of those doors is called the truth door. It's got the word truth written on it. In
It's,
truth, be free.
are the other doors like justice and the American
Yeah,
way and
yeah. Well, I don't know. I forget what the words are. I'm not going to
I do too.
speculate
That's
on
why I
them.
went to truth, justice, and the American way.
So all I'm saying is, in truth, right inside the library, be free, and that's what it tells you above the entrance as you go into the
And
library.
how
It's
does that
free.
help you?
Anyway,
How does it help you? How does it help you?
to me, that's a pattern. That's a pattern that
How does
exists
it
in the
help you?
Cleveland and Chicago verses as well.
But how does it help you?
It helps you because all of those lines that come after the dig here line are hints to where the verse is meant to begin. In
But
this
how does
case,
that
that last
help
line,
you?
in this case for Boston, that last line is hinting back to the library, meaning that's a hint that the verse is meant to begin at the library.
I think in order to challenge basically everyone that thinks there's a path, you guys got to come up with at least one that you agree on and that helps in some way. Because like we get to these spots without needing this. We and in brain dead ways. Just utter brain dead ways. It's just so simple to get to these spots. You don't need a path. And in order to have a path, everyone makes them so complicated that no one can agree on them. No one disagrees about May 1913. No one disagrees about it. No one disagrees on the columns. No one disagrees on the wall. No one disagrees on Saloy. No, it's just, there's brain dead, simple, stupid things. But the path, no one agrees. Not two people. Because they get so complicated and they don't help. They just point you to places that you're already at. You know?
Well, that may be true for the solved or found casks, but we still have 9 unfound.
Yeah. But
So
everybody's
maybe these
paths, no, I mean,
maybe these are hints to tell us where we're supposed to be looking.
maybe, but if you can't really illustrate the solved ones, how the hell are you going to illustrate the unsolved ones? I mean, I
Okay.
don't disagree. Dude, I totally don't disagree that there's paths. Like, because everybody's always like, George is the anti path guy. Roanoke obviously got a path. Obviously. It tells you, it gives you
That's
directions,
right.
it
That's
tells you
another
what
great
to do.
example, by the way. Path.
Yeah, you don't need a verse. It just, or you don't need a painting. It just tells you where to go. This doesn't tell you to go anywhere. Boston doesn't tell you to do a damn thing. Cleveland doesn't tell you to do a damn thing. Chicago tells you to do stuff. You gotta walk. It tells you to do stuff. Some of them don't. I think like the path, non path has the argument between path and non-path has sort of diluted the truth, whereas there's a little bit of both. Some of them do obviously have a path, and some of them don't. They're just not the grand path that everybody puts forward. Nobody argues the path for Roanoke. Nobody, except for the weird people who are like, it tells you, it uses an entire verse to go 10 miles and then one line that tells you to go back. Except for those people, they argue the path.
Well, the argument for Roanoke is always going to be, am I supposed to dig near Fort Raleigh and the amphitheater, or am I supposed to dig at, you know, the Lions Club Park?
Or there's a lot of people who are still at the Wright brothers, but those are the
That,
people who are like,
I will never understand that.
it's
I
like
just
it's like yeah,
don't get around that.
use like, I think it's a quarter of the verse that gets you from the Wright brothers park to Dark Forest, and then it gives you a whole bunch of shit in that park, and then they use one line to go all the way back.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Roanoke, I think everybody's going to end up being wrong about Roanoke, and it's going to be somewhere else. Not going to be in one of those two parks.
Well, let me ask you this. Speaking of Roanoke, since we're on the subject of Roanoke,
Mhm.
do you think that there's any chance whatsoever that the Lions Club will ever give us permission to dig that park?
Yeah, I do. Because the Lions Club in general is super cool. Like the Lions Club, not that, maybe not that one specifically, but the Lions Club as an organization is really into kooky shit like this. But I think nobody's ever presented it to them in a way that's, kooky and fun enough. Um, but yeah, I do think that's possible. It's just somebody's got to actually go there and talk to them. And it would be helpful if another Lions Club member went there and talked to them. Or the member of some sort of adjacent organization. And
Yeah,
was like,
I
I
agree.
brought a truckload of eyeglasses for you guys. Can I dig up your ball field?
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
no, yeah. Once you get into organizations like that, it's all on how you present it to them. But right now, it's just, and I've been included in this. I'm guilty of this. It's just been sneaky people going up and digging in their park, And who wants that? I mean,
Yeah.
hell, when I tried to talk to him, it was after everybody had already been sneaky. So, but yeah, I think
So
that's
they're
that's
already
probably
on
the
guard at
easiest.
that point,
Yeah,
defensive, and
they had
yeah,
already put up the signs. Like even their signs were like kooky and fun. Please do not treasure hunt our ball fields. Like, or there's no treasure hunting in the ball fields. That's hilarious.
yeah.
They're like New Orleans, man. They're, if you approach them the right way, they'll be cool with it. You just got to approach them the right way. And I'm not close enough to even begin to do that. I don't know. Why, you want to go dig up Roanoke? You want to make a
If,
trip out there and go meet at
if,
the Lions Club?
if you ever catch wind that the permission has been granted for us to dig Westcott Park, I'll fly out there to be part of that crew.
All right. I mean, Rachel and one of the other people in the group were talking about making a trip down to Roanoke, and if they do, I might try to arrange it to where there's a Lions Club meeting and just go talk to them and see, get a gauge of their, where they're at.
I would love the opportunity to present my theory to them just to see how they react to it.
I don't think that's gonna help. I really don't. But I think
Okay.
if we, what I think with the Lions Club is if we can figure out a way to present it as a fun thing for kids, I think they'll be cool with it. Because you got to remember, the Lions Club, laser focused on children, laser focused.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like the Shriners, laser focused on kids. So if we can figure out a way to make it to where it's in their best interest, or not in their best interest, but like where it's a cause they could get behind, we could get it done.
I hope so. I would
I
love to.
know when I dug there, the guys that I dug with they were in with, I don't want to say who it was, but it was somebody close to the park. We kind of had permission. It was like not explicit permission, but it was like don't make a mess kind of permission. And I think the things that came after that episode was released destroyed that. It destroyed that goodwill. So that's got to be rebuilt. But I think we could do it.
Cool. I
Yeah.
hope so.
We've been going a long time. Do you want to do anything? You want to talk about anything else?
No, I'm satisfied,
You
George.
sure? You should come back more often, man. I like having like people that just, you know how boring it is to have somebody you just agree with. Like I like this. This is fun. As long as you didn't take offense, because my God, I didn't mean any offense.
No, I took
I just
no
like,
offense, believe
I
me.
just like
I'm,
arguing.
I'm used to getting beat up in on the Discord and in the Facebook groups and stuff, so
But
that's fine.
do you think it helps any? Like the pointing out the flaws? Does it help?
Well, I think it helps people strengthen their defenses and sharpen their theories,
But does
you
it help
know?
you? I mean, because when people point out flaws, I mean, some of those flaws we talked about with the month thing, they were pretty obvious flaws. And it's stuff you could just go back and work on. I mean, it's stuff you could
Yeah,
fix.
yeah, yeah. And I will. I'm going to circle back and make another pass at it, see
It's
if I can tighten it up.
it's definitely a train of thought that's worth going down.
Hmm.
I can't believe he just chose birth gems and birth flowers because they were popular. There's got to be a reason. There's got to be.
Agreed.
I don't know. Oh well.
But yeah, I'll be glad to come back sometime, George. I have other theories that I'd like to, you
Cool.
know, expand on, but I don't think there's enough time to do all of
Well,
them.
hell, I
So
mean, it'd be fun while we're just putting together information, making our spreadsheet to get some people with different ideas too. Because otherwise, we're just going to make a spreadsheet of stuff we all already agree on. And what's the point of that? Anyway, all right, cool. Well, then I'll end. I've had fun. Did you have fun?
I did. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, man. Anytime. Just let me know. Shoot me a message if you ever want to come on. If we're talking about something you want to talk about, you're free to come on anytime.
I'm considering the cruise. I saw your post.
Yeah, I know you were
There's a lot.
considering it more when it was L.A., but it doesn't look like it's going to be L.A.
Doesn't surprise me,
Well, like
really.
I kind of wanted it to be because Matt, Brett, like everybody, all of my friends are focused on that. And we did Carnival last time, and I don't want to do that again. So I was hoping for like Royal Caribbean in L.A., but it looks like it's going to be Carnival in New Orleans. So whatever.
Okay.
So
I hope to be able to join it.
that'd be nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then I will stop the stream. Goodbye, everybody. Hang out. Don't leave.